Hello, hello, hello! I am Kasasagi Usagi, and I am here with more Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney Trials and Tribulations. I believe, God willing, we are almost done with this with this case. I do not dislike this series. I enjoyed a lot, but I am tired. I feel like maybe I should have taken a break in between these games and played some things. They're very fun, but I am tired. They've also gotten incredibly wacky. So we're finally going to see the tiger on the stand. We've almost got this case won now, Nick. I wish I could agree. Huh? When I cross-examined Mr. Armstrong just now, he said he was just doing what the tiger told him to do. But Godot picked up on it, remember? He pointed out that without proof, we don't know if what he testified is the truth. You mean, you think Mr. Armstrong was lying? I don't know, but if that's the line the prosecution takes, we could be in trouble. I get the feeling that we don't have the case-making evidence we're going to need. Hey, pal! Detective Gumshoe. What are you so jumpy about, Detective? Hey, that's the pot calling the kettle black, little top knot. It's not a top knot. Never mind about the hair. Just calm down, alright? I can't stand still when I don't have a job to do. I kinda got wound up. No kidding. You've gotta have something you need me to do, pal. Anything. Well, hey, I want to take a jog back down to the precinct. I could get some prints analyzed for you if you've got an hour. An hour? The trial will have reconvened by then. But Nick, we still don't have a really decisive piece of evidence, right? True. Without some kind of trump card to pull out of the bag, we're really stuck. You said you could get some fingerprint analysis done in an hour? You bet! In that case, would you mind checking the prints on this for me? If you're going back to the station anyway, could you find out whose prints are on this? Oh, hey! That's the small bottle I gave back to you this morning, right? Yeah, I think it's time we solve the last mystery of who the prints on it belong to. Sure thing, pal. Actually, that's been gnawing at me, too. Okay, I'll get this off to the lab right away. Just make sure you don't lose the case before I get back. This is pretty much the final showdown, I guess. It's time to separate the phonies from the real guys. Court will now reconvene. Mr. Godot, did you find this Furio Tigre? I even tamed him for you. It was a 3-cup job, no problem. Tamed him? The guy's name be Furio Tigre, but come on. He's pretty lively. Be careful, he still bites. Then you didn't tame him, Godot. Very well. Please show Mr. Tigre to the stand. Witness, please state your name and occupation for... Ah! Don't hide under the table, Maya, unless there's room for me down there, too. Would you mind? What'd you say to me? Nothing. I said nothing honest. Who could have guessed that fear would induce a bad Brooklyn accent in the judge? I got business to take care of, you hear me? So who the hell called me into this hole? Was it you, Spiky? No, of course not. It was the judge. Your Honor? Oh dear, I seem to have dropped my pen. Where on earth is it? Don't mind me, just carry on with the proceedings as normal. That's it. We're doomed. Maybe you didn't hear me. I said who the hell called me in here? There's no need to shout. We can all hear you. What'd you say? There's no point struggling. You're caught in a snare. The relentless snare of the law. Hello, strings. And I'm the one that hauled you in. Too cool. Don't let him get the better of you, Nick. Let's start with the basics. You know about the incident in question, correct? Incident? I don't know nothing about no stinking incident, masked boy. You mean you didn't attend the previous trial of Maggie Bird? Maggie who? I got more important things to do than watch courtroom dramas. Of course. Well, perhaps you could give your testimony then. Please tell us about what you did on the day of the murder. Phoenix Wright. You's the one who set this up, didn't you? He's gonna regret the day you ruffled the tiger's fur. You hear what I'm saying? Ooh, maybe I should have brought a diaper with me today. Get a grip, Nick! I don't know nothing about no murder. I was tied up with business in December last year. Spent all of my time in my office. I got whales lined up to borrow cash from Tenderlender every single day. You want to check my alibi? Just ask Violetta. At last I found my pen. Very well then, Mr. Wright, your cross-examination... What is it? Please, witness, if you could refrain from shouting out like that. I know the kind of games that guy in the blue plays. That lowlife ain't no lawyer. He just punches away at stupid details till he wins. Lowlife? Me? Listen up, smarty. Every time you ask me something that doesn't relate to this case, I'm gonna bill you $50,000. And you's gonna borrow the cash from me. That's one loan contract I refuse to sign. And don't think it ain't gonna hurt when you tangle with the tiger. I love a good spectator sport. Just a minute. That's really not. This witness is... How can I put it? A hungry tiger roaming the urban jungle. Get on his bad side, and he'll bite everyone's heads off. Yours, too. Very well. I have no choice but to impose a penalty system here. You's better be listening. I said I got business to take care of. Big business. If I don't split now, I ain't gonna catch my bus. The court will impose a penalty for any irrelevant pressing of witness testimony. Keep that in mind as you begin your cross-examination, Mr. Wright. Yes, Your Honor. You can do it, Nick. Come on from under there already, would you, Maya? That sucks. I hate this. I don't know nothing about no murder. I was tied up with business in December last year. Spent all of my time in my office. I got whales lined up. Just want to check. Okay. Of the 4 of these, I think I can... I think this one's okay to press. Are you sure about that? We're talking about 1 month ago, you know. You see these teeth? That's how sharp my secretary is. Sharp? Is he talking about Viola Cardavini? She writes everything in my scheduler. December, mainly in the office. That's what it says, so that's where I was. That seems rather a sketchy schedule. There he goes again. What the tiger did all December isn't the issue. What's important is what he was doing on the day of the murder. So now what? Mr. Tigre, what does he want? If you wouldn't mind going into a bit more detail. This is a dead-end trite, and you know it. Remember the rules. No, it's essential that we establish the witness's alibi accurately. I agree. The victim was killed on December 3rd. Were you in your office that day too? Maybe you ain't listening. Of course I was. I never set foot outside. I had meetings all day with a bunch of cats waiting to do business with me. I ain't never seen that young kid before. I do believe the witness's last statement was important. Mr. Godot, if you could please? Mr. Tigre, the court asked you to add that last statement to your testimony. Don't let an animal beat you. Be a man, Your Honor, and ask him yourself. The days you talking about, I was in the office too. I never saw that kid before. Okay, I'm not gonna press that because I'm scared for more penalties. But I know I can prove that wrong. Mr. Tigre, you claim you didn't know Mr. Glenn Elg. But it appears that Mr. Elg knew you. What? Mr. Elg left this little note on his calendar. Meet with the tiger. And the date? December 3rd. December 3rd? That's the day of the murder. So, Mr. Tigre, I submit that you did indeed know one Mr. Glenn Elg. Because on that very day of the incident, you met with him. Not bad. You's actually not bad. Sorry? I was just messing with yous to see how good you were. Did you hear that, Nate? He said you're not bad. That's one compliment I can do without. Plus, he's lying through his teeth. Witness, please remember that you are under oath. Lies will not be tolerated. He's calling me a liar? Is that what you do? Whoa. So you're saying that your claim to have never seen the kid before is the truth? I said I'm dead serious. You better believe that's the truth. Then I'd say that gives me time to enjoy another cup of pure black magic. That is, when you testify for the court again, Mr. Tigre. Oh yes, would you mind indulging the court, witness? Never actually met the victim. That's gotta be a lie right there. It's time I nailed this guy. I ain't no liar. I never met Glenn Elg. There was some lame guy with that name, though. Wanted to borrow cash from me. I set up a meeting with the guy at my office, tender lender. I waited around for him, but he ain't never showed. I ain't never been to that Tribulations joint, you see it? I see, that all seems perfectly logical. You had arranged to meet with the victim, but he didn't show up. I've heard it's pretty hard to keep appointments when you're dead. Very well. You may begin your cross-examination, Mr. Wright. Yes, Your Honor. Didn't I tell you we got a big deal going down today? I ain't gonna make my bus now. I'm gonna have to take the express train. The bill's going straight to you. Right. I think I can prove that he was there. I ain't no liar. There was some lame guy. No, I can't with the guy at my office. But he never showed. Okay, this I can also prove. I'm not gonna press it. But I do have the matches I found in his office. Mr. Tigre, is there something you'd like to tell the court about these matches? Matches? What you talking about? We found them in your office at Tender Lender. They're from that restaurant? Ah. If you really have never been to Tribulations before, what was a book of the restaurant's matches doing on your desk? You've been snooping around in my stuff now too, wise guy? What are you, my ball and chain? Ain't no broad controlling me. Order. Well, witness, I think it's time you started telling us the truth, don't you? Sorry, I'm terribly sorry. Forgive me. I ain't no pussycat. I don't go back on what I said. But okay, I was at the joint that day. What? But listen good, alright? I might have been there, but I still never met that kid. Well, well. Looks like an order just came in for another testimony. I'm this close to proving it was him. He did meet Glenn Elg that day. And he did put poison in his coffee. He must have. I was supposed to meet with that kid at the restaurant that afternoon. When I opened the door to the joint, I saw one ugly scene. That guy laid out over the table, stiff as concrete. I figured if the place wasn't hot already, it was gonna be, so I split. I heard the cop sirens on my way out, and I went straight back to my office. I see, you didn't actually meet with him in the end, then. Well, Mr. Wright, your cross-examination, please. Yes, Your Honor. Hold it! If I wait around here any longer, I ain't even gonna make the normal express. No more stupid questions. No problem. Anytime Trite presses you on something irrelevant, I'll see he pays a penalty. Mr. Godot, that's my job. Your job is to slam that little hammer of yours and call a guilty verdict. So do it. Yes, sir. The Special Express ain't cheap, right? Just so you know, since you's paying. Oh, man. Doesn't the rule of law mean anything around here? No, it doesn't. I was supposed to meet with the kid at the restaurant afternoon. When I opened the door to the joint, I saw one ugly scene. The guy was laid out over the table stiff as concrete. I figured if the place wasn't hot already, it was gonna be, so I split. I heard the cop sirens on my way out, and I went straight back to my office. Okay, so I only need the important shit. I'm scared to press anything. I'm just gonna stick with evidence since I'm gonna get in trouble. Okay, so let's check things out. That's the door. We talked about this way earlier. That you'd have to be pretty deep in the restaurant. Or, there's only certain places that you could be in the restaurant where you would have seen the body. Which is why where the old man was sitting was so important. So if he just walked in, there was no way that he could see it. Oh my god, I hope I'm not jumping. Not being able to press is very stressful. Well, that sounds promising. You're something of a loan collecting pro, aren't you, Mr. Tigre? No one escaped the tiger's clutches. Well, I'm something of a lie detecting pro. And no one escapes the phoenix's clutches. I think it's time we got something straight. What's this, Trite? A new line of irrelevant questioning? These are the floor plans of the crime scene. You say you were standing at the entrance, Mr. Tigre. From there, your field of vision would have covered an area something like this. Indeed, the witness would have had a clear view of the victim's seat. Isn't that what I just said? I saw the back of the kid's head. Unfortunately for you, that is not possible. If the court would think back, you'll remember that between each of the tables is a tall partition. Why, that's true! Now, look at the plans again. The truth is painfully obvious. from the entrance, the field of vision of any customer walking in ends here. So, from the entrance of Tribulations, you couldn't have seen the victim's seat. But you did see the victim that day because you met with him.
Objection!
Wrong. Have you forgotten the old man's testimony yesterday? The victim was alone at his table. But the defense just proved that point to be moot. The victim, witnessed by Mr. Godot, was not Glen Elg, but a fake. What? In order to have Mr. Godot falsely testify, the real killer posed as the victim he had just killed and acted out a charade. That will do. This trial has gone on long enough without the obvious question being answered. Who exactly was the real killer who impersonated the victim? You say the killer murdered Glen Elg, and then impersonated his victim in a performance for Victor Godot. In that case, Mr. Wright, reveal the identity of this criminal to the court. Are we kidding? It's this man right here. Obviously, the killer is Furio Tigre. No one else could have done it. What? Well, witness. Now that's cute. You think you can pin this on the tiger? Maybe yous don't understand. The tiger is king of the jungle. So I dares you to say it again. Come on, yous got the guts? You can't threaten me, Mr. Tigre. It's the defense. Go ahead and tell the witness, Mr. Wright. Mr. Wright. Sounds to me like it must be you, old man. You've got the guts, I'll give you that. Mr. Wright, do not leave me to handle this alone. Perhaps I can end this embarrassment. Mr. Godot? Let's just go back over Mr. Godot's testimony one more time. The old man didn't just see the victim. Oh, no, no, no. The serving girl brought him a Javakino, but she put something in it. There's no question about it. She very conspicuously put some white powder in there. Was the victim he saw the real victim or not? That doesn't matter. Fact remains, he saw the accused put the poison in the coffee. Godot is like, we talked about this, that there was already a fake murder, and that that's what that Victor saw. But Godot is like dragging us back to the things we've already discussed and proven, and I'm tired of his bullshit. Yes, it was the waitress who poisoned the coffee. Very impressive, Mr. Godot. Waiting for my absence to launch your attack. Oh yeah? How are you enjoying it? Uh-oh. Thank you, Sprightly. Huh. Found your pen at last, Trite? It was in my pocket. Ahem. But anyway, Mr. Godot witnessed two people that day. He saw the victim, the supposed Mr. Glen Elg, and the waitress from behind. Yes, your point, Mr. Wright. I think the conclusion is obvious. If this Glen Elg was really the killer in disguise, then surely it's possible the waitress was also part of the show. What? You mean the waitress was an imposter as well? The defendant, Miss Bird, fell unconscious immediately after the incident. And someone used her fainting to hatch an elaborate plan to pin the murder on her. Who on earth was it? Who was this waitress that Mr. Godot witnessed? I don't know if I can prove this, but it's definitely her. Who is this woman? Her name is Viola Cadaverni. She's an employee of Tender Lender. You was making a big mistake. Do you know who Violetta's grandfather is? I'm not afraid. You better be going home in an armored truck tonight, if you know what I mean. Stop shaking, Nick. Where was I? Yes, the defendant, Miss Bird, has stated the following. Well, when I took the coffee over to the victim's table, it's true. There was another customer in the restaurant. She was sort of creepy, and she had kind of a cackling laugh. And there are just too many contradictions in this case. The second man at the victim's table, who nobody but Miss Bird seems to have seen. The earpiece worn in the victim's left ear when the eardrum was ruptured. And the radio show he was supposedly listening to half an hour after it was over. There is only one logical explanation that clears up all of these contradictions. The whole incident took place twice, once for real and once for show. And Mr. Furio Tigre, the only person who could have committed the crime, is you. Witness, what have you got to say? That's cute. Sorry? He was alright. I could do with a guy like you around. What do you mean? Okay, I'm in on this game. I'm gonna have to charter a jet to get me to my meeting now, but I'm gonna give you one more thing to think about before I go. Something to think about. He's got it all wrapped up nice, huh, Wright? But you've missed out on one real important thing. But that can't be. I was in the joint that day, and I met that kid too. But I couldn't have poisoned him. He was here? What? Do you really expect us to believe you now, Mr. Tigre? What a troublemaker. Troublemaker? Looks like we're going to need another one for the road. One more steaming cup of hot testimony. Indeed, witness, you will explain yourself to the court. I'll give you one more chance to testify. What happened that day at ABN between yourself and the victim? Yeah, I loaned El cash about $100,000. That day, we was due to have a little chat. The kid had hit his payback date, see? So anyway, he tells me he's got no way to pay up. I'm about to flatten the guy when he starts screaming. Yes, I won! Have $1,000,000! He got lucky, you know? Real lucky. If that waitress hadn't done what she done, everything would have been over. Now I see that the principal amount you loaned Mr. Elg was $50,000. Yeah, well, he's got the you got the VIG to take into account interest. Builds up fast, you know? That's faster than fast. $100,000 is twice his principal. And the repayment deadline was December 3rd, the day of the incident in question. Yeah, he was one lucky kid. Got $500,000 just in time. So I ain't have no reason to kill the kid. And if I ain't got no motive, you ain't got no case. His motive? He has to have one, but what is it? Yeah, I loaned El cash about $100,000. That day, he was due to have a little chat. The kid hit his paycheck date C. So anyway, he tells me he's got no way to pay up. I'm about to flatten the guy when he starts screaming. Yes, I won $500,000. That waitress hadn't done what she'd done. Everything would have been over. This seems the only thing worth pressing. I'm so scared to press. Yeah, it's crazy. I used to watch a lot of true crime too. You gotta be careful when the police like, because it's very. When I was taking psychology classes, one of the things I learned is that if you are ever being interrogated for a crime, regardless if you've done it or not, especially if you've not done it, you have to be really careful when you're alone with cops and not say like anything to them. Because it's really easy for the way they do interrogations and the way they badger you. It's very easy to get like false memory, and the constant like sort of torture that you're under in there can make you say things. And so you always need to have an attorney with you. Don't say anything to them, and don't let yourself like get put. I mean, sometimes you can't stop, but make sure no matter what that you have. I will try, Sprightly, but I'm so sorry to say I don't have a law degree. But yeah, always make sure that like you are always asking for an attorney and don't say anything to them. No problem. The waitress, you mean? Absolutely. No problem. So long as we're in kangaroo court, I can't help you if we're in real court. The girl with the glasses in the defendant's chair. Who else could I name? If she hadn't gotten in the way, things would have been bada bing, bada boom, over and done with. Maybe I should push a little on this. What do you mean things would have been over and done with? Are yous all there or what? I'm talking about the cash. I was there to get my 100,000 bucks back. That's all. I'm a businessman. It was all coming together before that waitress got in the way. As far as I can tell from the witness's testimony, other than recuperating his loan, Mr. Tigre had no motive for killing the victim. Witness, will you amend your testimony to reflect what you just said? The Tigre's motive, huh? I was after the 100,000. I didn't have no other reason to kill the guy. Oh wait, that's not true. I need... I need Viola's medical papers. So you just intended to get back the $100,000 Mr. Elg owed you, correct? I loaned the guy the cash, so that's my right. Unfortunately for Mr. Elg, $100,000 wasn't enough to cover it, was it? Huh. About 6 months ago, you were involved in a traffic accident, weren't you? An accident involving a car and a scooter in which a young woman was injured. She was taken to the hospital, where she underwent surgery. Where did you get all this info? These medical papers document the treatment of the young woman in question. According to these, her operation cost $1 million. Payment for these expenses was due in December of last year and was paid in full. $1 million? A preposterous sum. Someone should sue these HMOs. No one would pay a bill like that. If the medical association got wind of it, the hospital would end up as dead as a morgue. But Mr. Tigre had no choice but to pay, because his very life depended on it. Order, order, order. You say his life depended on it, Mr. Wright? Indeed it did, simply because the injured woman was none other than Viola Cataverni. Did you say Cataverni? Bruno Cataverni, mob boss in charge of all underworld activities in the city, and doting grandfather to his precious Violetta, also known as Viola Cataretti. Your life was in danger unless you paid compensation to the boss, correct? It makes sense. You were desperate to acquire the $1 million Cataverni demanded of you. So desperate, in fact, that you decided to sacrifice Glen Elg's life to pay your debt. Order, order, order. What do you say to that, witness?
Objection!
It's a nice little fairy tale trait. But even if the witness did need $1 million, that doesn't tie him to Mr. Elg's murder. Mr. Elg only owed him $100,000 and had no hope of repaying it anyway. Yeah, that guy wasn't worth my spit. I don't think so. In fact, the opposite is true. The opposite? Lending money with no hope of ever seeing repayment would normally be bad for business. But in this case, the very fact that Mr. Glen Elg had no way to repay the money is crucial. What? Do you know where you're going with this, Nick? You've got to think outside the box, Maya. Outside the box? It's very straightforward. Mr. Tigre wasn't after the $100,000 after all. It seems you have a logical conclusion for this theory, Mr. Wright. Would you care to share it with us? What exactly was Mr. Tigre after? I think it's the CD, right? The CD's worth millions? Maybe? I hope this isn't jumping ahead. Glen Elg was a programmer. A highly skilled programmer. That skill was the collateral Mr. Elg put up in order to borrow the money. Care to explain how skill can be used as collateral to secure a loan, Wright? He had the skill to create a computer virus, and so he did. A virus known as MC Bomber. A computer virus? What does one of those do? A computer virus is a program that wreaks havoc on the insides of a computer. A computer? What does one of those do? I guess the beard isn't the only part of his honor that is from the Stone Age. I'll explain it to you later, Your Honor. Right now, this is the important point. A virus, like MC Bomber, would be worth several $1 million on the black market. Mr. Tigre, you couldn't have cared less about the $100,000, isn't that right? All you cared about was one thing, the virus. On the day of the murder, Mr. Tigre's sole intention was to get his hands on this CD. Glen Elg had no way of paying back the $100,000, and Mr. Tigre knew it. But then a miracle happened. That kind that Mr. Tigre would prefer to say never happened, but he can't, and neither can I. The lottery win. Exactly. At the 11th hour, Mr. Elg won himself $1 million, $500,000 on the lottery, which left Mr. Tigre with no way of getting his hands on the all-important CD. At least, no legitimate way. So he resorted to illegitimate means. That's crazy. He murdered Glen Elg, and then made his next move, to frame Maggie Bird for the crime. Mr. Tigre posed as Glen Elg, while Viola Caterini played the role of Miss Bird. And then they reenacted the whole thing in order to establish a witness. The witness being the one we heard all heard testify yesterday, Mr. Victor Kudo. Like I said, Trite, that's crazy. No one could pull off a stunt like that. For starters, there's no way the chef would have been kept in the dark about it. But Mr. Armstrong was in on it from the very beginning. Have you forgotten already, Mr. Godot? That Mr. Armstrong owed the witness money too. $500,000, in fact. He had no choice but to go along with Mr. Tigre's plan. Order, order. Silencer! You's put on a good show, Spiky. If yous want to stay alive in the loan shark business, you gotta be careful. You saying I dressed up like that kid, created a witness, and framed someone? If I did something crazy like that, I'd leave a trail as bright as my shirt. I ain't dumb enough to do something sloppy like that. I agree. You do? Despite your appearance, you are very careful. That's why you took on one more precaution. One more trick to make sure Miss Bird had no way out. What? Another one, Mr. Wright? Interesting. Why don't you fill us all in, Trite? What was this trick you say Mr. Tigre performed to frame the accused? Oh, it's me. It was dressing up as me. What on earth is that? What an insult to think anyone could be fooled by such childish imitation. Consider yourself insulted, Your Honor. Mr. Tigre, you didn't just pose as the victim on the day in question. A month ago, in this very court, you posed as me. What? That's the truth. But the witness looks nothing like you, Mr. Wright. Although, now that I think about it, it was you, wasn't it? No doubt it was you, standing in here, this very court, a mere month ago. The Phoenix Wright who put the most disreputable, shabby defense I'd ever seen. Can you prove that, Gramps? Prove that the attorney who represented the accused here a month ago was this man. Are you prepared to take the stand and testify that it was him? Whoa. Hey. Forget about it, yeah? I would do something like that, not me. You made a mistake, right? It was someone else, huh? Have you no pride, sir?
Objection.
Bunnies do make a sound. Not usually. So most of the ways they communicate is by stomping their footies, to get like attention or to alert others of danger. But bunnies also make a very, very soft sound when they're feeling when they're feeling it's especially frisky, and it's kind of like this. It's honk 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 honk. They make these soft little honking sounds when they want to do recreational bunny activities. Boink. When they want to do the bunny point. This isn't a matter of pride. In case you didn't know, right here in court, we deal with people's lives. The honk deck. The honk and donk, exactly. Mr. Godot is right. Your Honor, speaking for myself, I am absolutely convinced. The attorney in question was the witness standing before me now. However, I preside over this court as the judge, with the vested power to hand down a verdict. Someone in my position cannot be swayed by a memory without evidence to support it. If the defense has no further evidence, the court will now excuse the witness. The circumstances surrounding Mr. Tigre are dubious for sure, but not conclusive. But we've come so far. You say he impersonated Glenelg. You say he impersonated you. But none of that adds up to a murder charge. You don't have a shred of evidence that the witness poisoned the victim's coffee. Heh. Sucks to be you, Wright. Don't mess with the tiger, or you're gonna get mauled. You's got that? All we managed to do here was chase him around a bit, but I was so close to getting him to admit his own guilt. Looks like I won't be needing a refill. If I just had one more piece of evidence. One more piece of evidence, and maybe I could get Maggie off the hook. The witness's cross-examination is over. You're free to go, Mr. Tigre. God, this is dumb as hell. Your Honor, sir. Wait! Detective? Detective Gumshoe? Sorry I took so long, pal. I staked everything on this. My badge, the works. So here it is. My heart's counting on this too. What is it, detective? it obvious, pal? It's the final, decisive piece of evidence. What? Sorry it took so long, pal, but I finally got the results back from the lab. The results? About the prince, pal, from the medicine bottle. Oh. So, do you know who the prince belonged to now? Do you think I'm some kind of hack detective? Of course I know. Nah, there wasn't time. They actually talked about this. We were able to find out what was in the bottle, but we couldn't. There wasn't enough time for the prince because people get arrested on the trials the next day. So tell us, they're the tigers, right? I knew it. You bet. Clear as crystal, all over the bottle. They're Furio Tigre's paw prints, all right. That's great. We've got him now, Nick. What's wrong with you? You've hardly said a word since Detective Gumshoe got here. He's laid everything on the line for this, Nick. I know. Look, I'm sorry. This is kind of hard to say, but it really doesn't make a difference whose prints are on that bottle now. Huh? What? Why not? What we need to produce at this stage in the trial is irrefutable evidence that the tiger put poison in Glenn Elk's coffee. He's already admitted that he met the victim. The fact that his prints are on this bottle, that really doesn't make any difference now. I knew it. Great. No matter how hard I try, I'm never of any use. Hey, don't be so hard on yourself. This was our last chance to help Maggie. And I've been working on some useless piece of evidence the whole time. It's alright. I'm a real loser. It's not breaking news to me, pal. Detective Gumshoe? Maggie! You've been working on something? For me? Sorry I let you down, Maggie. I know you didn't do it. And I'm a detective. We're supposed to be able to prove stuff like that. I'm real sorry. I'll get out of your hair now. Detective Gumshoe, wait! He's gone. Isn't there anything we can do now, Nick? I wish there was. Gumshoe worked so hard to get that evidence. If only there was some way I could use it. Mr. Wright. Yes, Your Honor. I granted you a recess so you prepare the decisive evidence you discovered. Yes. Don't keep all of us in suspense, Trite. Show us. Naturally, we can assume it's evidence that will actually stand up in court, can't we? Think, Phoenix. Don't let Gumshoe's hard work go to waste. How much more of my time are you gonna waste? I ain't been to no court before, but yous lawyers sure know how to blow things out of proportion. No doubt, given the nature of evidence, it will speak for itself. Nevertheless, you will talk us through it, Mr. Wright. Well, I know I can't prove anything new with this evidence. I'm really backed into a corner here. But maybe if he thinks he's got me beat, he'll let his guard down a bit. Don't keep us waiting any longer, Mr. Wright. Present this final, decisive piece of evidence to the court. Here you go. This is the defense's final piece of evidence. Isn't that the victim? Your Honor. Naturally, the court is already aware of the contents of this bottle. However, interesting new information has come to light. We have clearly identified some fingerprints on it. Fingerprints belonging to you, Mr. Tigre. What? But, Mr. Wright, what conclusion are you hoping to draw from this new information? Everyone in here knows what this bottle contains, except except one man. One person in this courtroom should theoretically be in the dark. My prints are on that pansy-looking bottle? Is that what you saying? Well, what the hell's in it anyway? A phony trial, a phony lawyer, and phony clues. Everything about this case has been phony. Seems like the perfect excuse for some phony evidence. What? Mr. Tigre, this is the decisive piece of evidence that will prove your guilt. Why? Because it contains... Do I lie? The game just told me to lie. I'm not under oath. I'm simply a lawyer, and lying is what I do. This bottle contains potassium cyanide. Potassium cyanide? The poison used to murder Mr. Elg, Your Honor. The victim's killer used this very bottle. And on this bottle, Mr. Tigre, we found your fingerprints. Well, how do you explain that? Why is Godot just letting this happen? You'd make a good clown, you know that? What? Yous ain't never gonna get this to stick. Yous just making me laugh now. You think a cheap bluff like that's gonna fool the tiger? A bluff? I can see straight through you, Phoenix Wright. That ain't the bottle with the cyanide in it. No? This is the bottle we found traces of poison in. You don't mess with the tiger, or you're gonna get ripped to shreds. The cyanide bottle was brown, and it was made of glass. This cheap piece of trash don't look nothing like it. Jesus Christ. Got him. At last. What? Why is everyone gone quiet? I said that bottle... Is the bottle you're referring to... Yes, that's it. That's the bottle with the cyanide in it. But yous ain't gonna find my prints on that bottle. Don't let that cozy-looking suit fool you people. That lawyer's just playing games. Tell him, Mr. Prosecutor. Tell that guy where to go. You still haven't figured it out. Don't you realize what you just said? What I said? What did I just say? You were summoned to this court for the first time earlier today. If you really had nothing to do with the murder, you shouldn't have known all the little details. For instance, you shouldn't have known what kind of bottle the potassium cyanide was in. But just now, you slipped up in front of every single person in this courtroom. You described the exact bottle used by the killer to hold the poison. You don't know who you's messing with. I'm the tiger. I control millions of dollars on the black market. You think I'm gonna let some jumped up suit get the better of me? Sure, the last piece of evidence was phony. But that's just what you deserve. The phony trial with a phony lawyer. It was all played out by you, the biggest phony of all. What's going on? It looks like a blackout. Well done, trite. I saved my 17th cup of coffee just for you. Savor it. While you watch the police, restrain your prey. Mr. Wright, you caught a tiger by his toe. But if this one hollers, he won't be let go. Jesus Christ. Now then, how are things going with Mr. Tigre, Mr. Godot? He is being arrested on suspicion of murder with Mr. Glenelg, Your Honor. Fortunately for us, we managed to rectify a grave error. Miss Bird was found guilty in the absence of a genuine defense attorney. Yes, she was. And in the absence of genuine evidence. But the tiger made one mistake. Indeed. He very nearly got away with everything if it wasn't for that one slip of the tongue. Furio Tigre is a truly frightening criminal. The truly frightening one is that defense attorney over there. Godot. I still don't know why this man hates me. Well, I'm now in a position to deliver my verdict. This court finds the defendant, Maggie Bird. Woo. That is all. The court is adjourned. Mr. Wright, I'm at a loss for words. Thank you, sir. Congratulations, Maggie. I was so mad when Mr. Wright landed me in all that trouble a month ago, but now I feel like I can forgive him. Hey, that wasn't me, Maggie. That was the tiger. Look, Nick. In the doorway. Detective Gumshoe. Oh, guess I'll be heading off then. See you around, pal. Wait. Detective Gumshoe. Oh yeah. Congratulations, Maggie. Thanks. I knew you were innocent all along. Why didn't you say that in your testimony then? He did though. I very much remember him saying that Maggie didn't do it. Oh, well, well, guess I'll be heading off then. See you around. Wait up, detective. He just ran off. Maggie, why are you being so hard on him? He busted his butt off. He busted his butt for you. Yeah, I did not like the last. I liked this one more than the last one because I thought the Master Mask stuff was incredibly dumb, and it was incredibly long. This wasn't too bad. It's thanks to him that we got the medication bottle. That wasn't even of any use. But it's only because of Mr. Wright used it so cleverly. Detective Gumshoe was just running around in circles. Poor guy. Looks like she still isn't ready to forgive him. Can't you put in a good word for him, Nick? Yeah, Maya is right. I should help Gumshoe out. He clearly needs it. Maggie. You know, Detective Gumshoe's been really worried about you through all of this. I wanted to believe that, sir. But on the first day of the trial, he practically gave the judge a free pass to lock me up. He didn't have any choice, Maggie. He's a detective. He has to report the facts. He doubted me. That's why. He thought I might have done it. I've got to prove to her that Gumshoe really cares about her. I know. I'll give her a little present to celebrate her freedom. Here you are. A present to celebrate your freedom. That's a present from Detective Gumshoe, made with a ton of love. He said you lost weight and he was worried about you. Detective Gumshoe. I actually really like weenies, you know? Did your guys hear that? I'm pretty hungry myself, you know? Yeah, the trial dragged down a bit today, didn't it? Is it okay if I eat this now? So, how is it, Maggie? It's really good. So the case of phony versus genuine comes to an end. The false allegations surrounding Maggie have all been cleared up. And who knows, maybe a whole new chapter of her life is about to start. Edgeworth? It's Edgeworth! And he looks so fancy! I'm so fucking excited. Let's fucking go! Why is Edgeworth here? Hell yes. Let's get it. It's the boy! The girl? Let her go. Uh-oh. Shut up. Come closer and I'll kill her. Sorry, but you're not going to get the chance. I guess there's one after this? I'm reading the file of an old court case. It was the first case of my longtime mentor, Mia Fey. After escaping, Fawless met with and then murdered Sergeant Valerie Hawthorne, recaptured on Eagle Mountain about 8 hours. Her very first client was a death row inmate who had recently broken out of prison. That was a whole year before Mia and I ever met. Oh. I'm so nervous. I feel like I'm going to die. I never should have accepted this case. Eeh! Good morning. Don't be so jumpy, Mia. I didn't do nothing. I swear I didn't kill nobody. Terry Fawless, my first client. Sentenced to death 5 years ago, and now a prison escapee. Just relax, Mia. Make small talk and try to relax him. So why did you escape anyway? I'm sorry. I didn't do nothing. I didn't kill nobody. I never lie. I didn't escape from nowhere. But Mr. Fawless, the police just recaptured you 2 days ago. Oh, sorry. I told a little lie. Oh boy. But anyway, I didn't do it. I never killed nobody. Sorry for asking, but you're on death row, right? I'm really sorry. They sentenced me to die 5 years ago, but I was tricked, I tell you. That woman, she lied in her testimony. That's why I got the death penalty. I swear it. I didn't kill her. I could never do that. No. A year ago was the trial that Phoenix... That was our first case, where Phoenix was on trial, and she was defending him. And then 5 years later, he became a lawyer. Because she didn't do... Whatever happened in this case made her stop being a lawyer for a whole year. Yeah, so timeline as far as I understand it, this is her first case. Something happens in this case, and she stops being a lawyer for an entire year. And then the next case she does is the one with Phoenix. And then she starts her law career for real. And then he becomes a lawyer. And that was... I guess that was 2 years ago? I don't know. I don't know how much time has passed between the first game and this. So. But yeah, no. She stops lawyering after whatever happens in this case. 2 years ago, he escaped from the police wagon when it crashed. Or 2 days ago, he escaped from the police wagon when it crashed. Then, about 8 hours later, this is true, we witnessed that. She could seduce an old man. That's very impressive. Then about 8 hours later, a policewoman was murdered before the police could recapture him. The police believe that Terry Flawless did it. After you escaped, did you meet a policewoman? Yeah, I did. She's the reason I escaped. So that much is true. He did meet with the victim. But I didn't kill her! She was alive when I left. She was alive! It's true! I can trust him, right? I mean, I should. Huh. Holy shit. It's Godot! Oh, what happened to you, sir? You're not going to figure out the truth by just staring at the guy. Why are you here? I came to see how our little kitten was doing all alone in the big, scary lion's den. I thought maybe you'd like someone to play with. Where is Mr. Grossberg? Ha, that old man is probably still in bed. I bet he's clutching an empty bottle and mumbling in his sleep. Aren't I good enough? After all, it's me, Diego Armando. Holy shit. I love this man. I already loved him when he was a silver-haired robot, but now... I didn't say... So, Diego Armando, the finest attorney at Grossberg Law Offices, is here for me? No, no, no. You've got it all wrong. Today, you're the finest. After all, it took an amazing amount of guts to take this case. Imagine, an escaped death row convict for a first client. Yeah, thanks. I wish I could get out of it, though. Huh, relax. I just heard some good news. The prosecutor for today is fresh out of his diapers as well. Really? However, unlike a certain somebody who I won't mention, he's earned the reputation of a genius since beginning his law career. A genius? Well, it's about time to head in, kitten. Sharpen those claws of yours. It's go time. A solitary confinement cell for the condemned must be the world's loneliest place. And that's what my client ran away from. Every other lawyer gave up on him, but not me. When I saw those overflowing eyes and heard that simple childlike voice, I just had the feeling that he was telling the truth. I'm glad we're all on the same page. And that Diego is super hot. And we're gonna have Edgeworth in the prosecutor's seat. Hell yes, this courtroom is on fire. It is finally full of competence. The court is now in session for the trial of Terry Flawless. The defense is ready, Your Honor. The prosecution has been ready for a while, Your Honor. Look at how short his bangs are. His eyes are all big. He's so young. He's so young and not yet bright. I understand the lawyers for both sides are newcomers. Yes, Your Honor. I'm Mia Fey. Miles Edgeworth, Your Honor. So you're the new prosecutor everyone is talking about, eh? They say you joined the prosecutor's office at quite an early age. At 20, Your Honor. I guess our little kitten hasn't earned herself much of a reputation yet, huh? Come on, Mia. You can't lose. Not to someone younger than you. Young people running a trial. I'm not too sure how I feel about that. Now then, the defendant in this case is currently a felon on death row. 2 days ago, he escaped from a police wagon. Is that correct? Precisely. But the defendant is not on trial for escaping prison. On the day that the defendant escaped, a policewoman was murdered. So we're here to determine if Mr. Flawless was responsible for her death. You got it, kitten. Well then, Mr. Edgeworth, let's hear your opening statement. Yes, Your Honor. It was 5 years ago. The defendant, Terry Flawless, was sentenced to death in this very court. His crimes were kidnapping, extortion, and murder. The girl he threw off the bridge was only 14 years old. A truly horrible crime. I remember it well. There was no decisive evidence, so the trial was long and protracted. Correct. But in the end, what finally decided the case was a certain witness's testimony. Look at, he's so young! A witness's testimony? The testimony of Detective Valerie Hawthorne, the person who confronted this criminal. She arrested Mr. Flawless at the scene and later testified against him. She said she witnessed Mr. Flawless throw this young victim into the river. For those who are not aware, Eagle River is well known for its powerful current. Most bodies that fall in are never recovered. So Miss Hawthorne's testimony was the one that put him away. The policewoman you just mentioned. That wouldn't be. Exactly. The victim. The same woman that was killed 2 days ago. Police Sergeant Valerie Hawthorne. Ah, I see. The man who was sentenced to death based on her testimony escaped 2 days ago. With only one thing on his mind. To take revenge against the woman who convicted him. Aha! The truth is becoming clear to me now. Huh? Yes, yes. It's quite obvious that the defendant is guilty. Wait a minute, that's not right. At least hear the case before you decide on the outcome, Your Honor. Watch yourself, Miss Fay. I'm not sure I care for your word choice or your tone of voice. Young people these days simply don't know how to respect their elders. Why, you're even younger than me, you hypocrite. Now then, Mr. Edgeworth, please call your first witness. I call the detective who was in charge of the initial investigation of this case. Witness, state your name and occupation. Gumshoe, Dick Gumshoe. I'm the homicide detective in charge of this case, sir. I finally got promoted to detective division half a year ago. I don't believe anyone asked you about that. Hey, ma'am, you got any idea how much work it takes? What is it? You're really gorgeous. Excuse me? No, seriously. My heart, it's aching for you. Detective, pull yourself together and try to be professional. Otherwise, I'll write you up on contempt so quick that something other than your heart will ache. Oh, okay. I got it. You can't just say that. Now, Detective, tell us about the incident. Yes, sir, right away. The victim was Sergeant Valerie Hawthorne, a veteran on the police force. She was stabbed in the back with a knife and died from excessive blood loss. That much is already stated in the autopsy report. The court would like to hear more details about the incident itself. Yes, sir, I gotcha. Okay, let's take a look at this aerial map of the area here. This is a sketch of Dusky Bridge, an old suspension bridge, and the river that runs under there is Eagle River. The victim and the defendant met there on top of the bridge. After stabbing her in the back, the killer carried the victim back to his car. He was recaptured at a police checkpoint as he was trying to make his getaway, sir. I see. Was the victim's blood found on the bridge? The victim, Sergeant Valerie Hawthorne, was wearing a thick coat, sir. Unfortunately, no traces of blood were found on the bridge. Mr. Edgeworth, I warn you that I absolutely despise conjecture. If there is no blood on the bridge, then you have no proof that they even met there. Your Honor. If you would listen to the testimony we have prepared, I'm sure you'll be convinced. The two of them most certainly did meet on the bridge that day. Why, Mr. Edgeworth? I'm not sure I like you, wagging your finger at me as though I was some hoser. Detective, proceed with your testimony. Yes, sir. Here we go. Ah! Agent Sam! Thank you for the raid! Hello, hello! What were you guys playing? Here we go, Mia. Hang on. Okay, now. Listen carefully, kitten. Yes, welcome back, Zeb. One little mistake, and this guy will drink you for morning tea. Trust me, and get ready. Oh, more pillars! You're still on game 1, right? Oh, I hope you're enjoying yourself. I really did love Pillars 1. On the day of the incident, an unknown person phoned the sergeant and asked to meet. Sergeant Hawthorne went to Dusky Bridge at the designated time and met with Mr. Flawless. Oh, fair enough. And that's where she was. Brutally murdered, sir. The criminal stuffed her body into his car trunk and tried to make a getaway. Mr. Flawless was arrested at a police checkpoint we set up at the base of the mountain. Oh, where are you at in Pillars 1? We've played through it, so we can talk a little bit about it. Well, you certainly have established the importance of the bridge. Oh, hell yeah. Naturally. Now, would the defense please hurry up and proceed with the cross-examination? Yes, Your Honor. Cross-examination. Coming right up. Hey, settle down there, kitten. If you keep trembling like that, you're gonna make me spill my coffee. I'm not trembling. It's just cold in here. The courtroom can be a cold battlefield, alright? Especially for a beginner. I don't need you to worry about me. I mean the defendant, the witness. Everyone's a beginner in here. Ha, you got me there. But maybe you should keep your claws out and show them what you've got, kitten. Oh, nice. I love her. It's okay, Mia. Stay calm. Just remember, those court procedure videos you stayed up all night watching. On the day of the incident, an unknown person phoned the sergeant and asked to meet. This unknown person, you have no idea who it might be, right? Sorry, but I'm afraid I do. What? The one who called Sergeant Hawthorne was the defendant, Terry Flawless. What? The defendant? The defendant called her? Sergeant Hawthorne was a very thorough person, sir. She left a note about her phone call with Mr. Flawless. A note? Yeah, a top secret memo that she left in her desk. According to this note, it seems the one who called her at the bridge was indeed the defendant, Terry Flawless. Whose bright idea was it to keep that note from me? Huh, looks like the judge is even more sure of his verdict now. Listen up. Never ask a question if you don't already know the answer. It's the detective's fault. He's the one that said unknown person. Hey now, don't make that face at me. I just said it that way because the prosecutor told me to. Was that a trap? With that cute face, I didn't expect him to be so sneaky. Take care, Zab, and thank you again for the raid. Sergeant Hawthorne went to Dusky Bridge at the designated time and met with Mr. Fawless. A bridge up in the mountains, but why meet there? Because it is a very important place to the defendant, that's why. What do you mean by that? If you remember 5 years ago, the defendant kidnapped a young girl. He was chased onto a bridge, and it was there that he killed his hostage. And the place where all of this occurred is, of course, Dusky Bridge. The very place where Sergeant Hawthorne arrested and handcuffed Mr. Fawless. Huh, returning to the scene of the crime. How nostalgic. I actually need to look at this note. Fawless at 4:30 p.m. That bridge. Wear white scarf for identification. Talk to Dahlia. Tell her this time the whole truth must come out. Dahlia. That's right. She was part of this case. We talked about that in the very, very first trial. Interesting. And that's where she was brutally murdered, sir. Was the body of the victim discovered right away? Yeah, we were really on the ball. We found the criminal within 1 hour of the murder. It was great. We even got to say, "Don't move. We've got you surrounded." Wait a second. Isn't there something weird about that? The location was a suspension bridge up in the mountains. So how did they find out about the crime so quickly? Sergeant Hawthorne must have mentioned the phone call to someone else, right? Huh. If that's what had happened, then she wouldn't have been killed. She never mentioned the phone call from Mr. Fawless, but she left a note on her desk about it. If only I had noticed it earlier, maybe she'd still be alive. I wonder why she didn't mention the phone call to anyone. The criminal stuffed her body into his car trunk and tried to make a getaway. Mr. Fawless had a car then? Well, that bridge is way up in the mountains, ma'am. The defendant and the victim both went up there by car. I mean, how else, right? What? You mean the defendant drove his own car? No, of course not. It was stolen. He stole it from a young couple that had been waiting at a red light. Car thieves. Not sure how I feel about car thieves. Is this guy sure how he feels about anything? This is a photo of the stolen car's trunk. Naturally, that's the body of Valerie Hawthorne in there. Whoa, that doesn't look too comfortable. Well, she's dead, so I don't think she's complaining. The victim, she was stabbed in the back, correct? Yeah. Huh. For some reason, men always seem to get stabbed in the back. We're talking about a woman here. You can't tell from this photo, but the knife was stuck in her back nice and firm. The condition of the body when it was discovered is very important information. Detective, was there anything strange or noteworthy in the trunk of the car? Here's a photo of the trunk, but I don't see anything strange. Do you? Anyway. What did the defendant have to say about this photo? What he always says, ma'am. I didn't do it, I didn't do nothing. That's all he says. Nothing? I wouldn't say he did nothing. At the very least, we know he stole a car. It's just that what he always says, Your Honor. And then he always says, sorry, I told a little lie. Or something like that. Well, in any case, it seems he was caught and arrested. Precisely. Mr. Fawless was arrested at the police checkpoint we set up at the base of the mountain. That certainly is some impressive police work. Well, no, actually it was way too close for comfort. We set up that checkpoint just after 5 p.m. We figured that Mr. Fawless might just try to run. What do you mean it was too close for comfort? The two of them arranged to meet at 4:30 p.m. And it takes approximately 30 minutes to go from the bridge to the checkpoint. That was kind of close. Any later, and Mr. Follis could have slipped right by. Listen up, kitten. There's a big trap waiting for you within that testimony. A trap? Walk into it carelessly, and it'll leave more than just a flesh wound. Fun, huh? No, it's not! Well, if you want to have any chance at all, you'd better get some more information. And if you're going to get caught in a trap, it's best to get caught early. You can always look for contradictions afterwards. The ever-famous contradictions. I sure hope I can find some of those. There was something weird that I noticed. Yeah, so in his thing, it's in the note, it says that she needs to wear a scarf, and she doesn't have one. That's the only thing I can think. But I don't see anything strange. She's supposed to wear a scarf, she doesn't have a scarf. I don't know. Okay. Witness! What is it? Do you have something to say, Miss Faye? I'm sorry. I totally forgot what I was going to say. This is the first time I've ever had to actually address someone like that. You should have practiced before coming to court. Honestly, Miss Faye, I'm not sure I like this. Say there, little kitten. Want a piece of my coffee candy? Candy? Well, you're still too young to be drinking real coffee. Come on, Mia. Shake it off. You're a lawyer. Detective. Yes, ma'am. This photo. You said that there was nothing peculiar about it. Is that correct? Yeah, that's what I said. Well then, I suggest you take another look at the note written by the victim. The note? It very clearly says, wear white scarf for identification. The caller must have forgotten that what the victim looked like. Thus, this special request. I have one very simple question for you, Detective. Where is the white scarf? I can't seem to find it in this photo. Well, to be honest, we didn't find it in the trunk, ma'am. And you stopped there? You should have looked for it. Ah! The caller told her to wear it to identify herself, so I expect she did just that. Well, Mr. Edgeworth, what do you have to say about this? I see the defense is a little lacking. The scarf you are searching so desperately for is this one, perchance. Well, where did you find that, sir? On Dusky Bridge. I was there first and decided to conduct my own investigation. Why? Why didn't you tell me? I made a decision to keep all pieces of evidence in my personal satchel. It's the safest place I know. That hotshot sure has flair for the dramatic. It's not exactly white as the caller requested, but as you can see, it's close enough for what it was intended for. It looks like it spent some time in the mud. Not surprising. It was drizzling on the mountain that day. Prosecutor Edgeworth. He was intentionally hiding that scarf the whole time. The court will accept the scarf into evidence. Now, if the attorney for the defense is finished embarrassing herself, I'd like to move on with the testimony. That is alright with you, isn't it, Miss Faye? Boy, would I like to wrap this scarf around his smarmy little neck. Very good. Now, if we're done with the mud-covered scarf business, the prosecution moves to establish conclusively and with hard evidence that Miss Hawthorne and Miss Follis did indeed meet on the bridge that day. Furthermore, we will show exactly what occurred there. That sounds quite promising. I can't wait to hear all about it. Everything is moving at his whim. Don't forget, kitten. There's a reason why everyone considers this kid a genius. A genius, huh? Actually, there's an eyewitness who was there when the incident took place. This photo was accidentally taken by the witness. It shows the Vic wearing a scarf, sir. It was drizzling that day, unfortunately. It's a little hard to see what's going on. Anyway, the criminal shoved the victim down from behind and stabbed her in the back. That must have been when the scarf fell off. Yeah, that's definitely a blue scarf. Looking at this photo, you really get the sense that this bridge is very high up. It's about a 40-foot drop from the bridge to the Eagle River down below. Mr. Edgeworth, who took this photo anyway? Let's just say that it was a well-intentioned third party. Ah, a potential witness! So why isn't this person in the courtroom? Well, they said they absolutely did not want to testify. The person in question is very delicate, Your Honor. Besides, as long as we have this photo, we see no reason to compel them to testify. I'm not sure how I feel about that. So as you can see, Terry Fallis had both the motive and the opportunity. I think it's quite clear at this point what happened on that bridge. Aha! The truth is becoming clear to me now. Yes, it's quite obvious. He's clearly guilty. Not again. That's not fair. I haven't even done my cross-examination yet. What do you mean, Actually, there's an eyewitness who was there when the incident took place. Who is this eyewitness? She's a college student. A female college student. That's right, meaning she's female and a college student, ma'am. She doesn't do well in front of other people, so I came to testify for her. Maybe so, but as the attorney for the defense, I have the right to cross-examine her. For the time being, we're not relying on that witness's statements, that is all. What is that supposed to mean? The prosecution has other, more decisive evidence. Our case doesn't rest on the vague testimony of a female college student. A female college student, eh? It means she's female and a college student, sir. Oof. If you absolutely must hear her testimony, you'll have to give us a good reason why. Please tell us about the more decisive evidence in question. This photo was accidentally taken by the witness. It shows the Vic wearing the scarf, sir. Oh, shit, okay. The victim is wearing a scarf in that photo, alright. So, about the witness who took this photo, what was the person doing all the way in the mountains? She was taking photos of the wildflowers, apparently. There are many unusual types of flora on that mountain, Miss Faye. People in the area say it's because of the spirits that live there. Spirits? Now that you mention it, this photo. This cloudy, fog-like thing. It's a ghost! I don't believe it! No, Your Honor. No, I don't think it's a ghost. It was drizzling that day, unfortunately. It's a little hard to see what's going on. Drizzling, huh? That's right. There was a light rain coming down. The whole place was dreary. But not as dreary as the mood that's in this courtroom right now. Looks like a cold front that's just moved in. In any case, the point is that the area was quite damp. There was even some fog. I even slipped and fell while I was on the bridge. It was really something. Anyway, the criminal shoved the victim down from behind and stabbed her in the back. Is that part of the witness's testimony as well? Of course it is. He pushed the victim hard in the back and she fell down right on her stomach. I remember that happening once myself. It was really brutal. Are you talking about seeing someone get pushed, or were you the one getting pushed? Or does it mean that you pushed someone down like that once? With his mind-boggling tales and the way he said brutal, I wonder if he's Canadian. Save your nasty look for the right person. Huh? Take a look. Poor baby. The court record seems to have wet itself. Hey, watch where you spill your coffee. The court record, huh? Okay. Armando told me to look at the court record. Okay. I feel like if she was actually pushed down, she should be dirty. Because we've talked about the scarf a lot. I'm gonna present this. So at the time of the crime, there was a light drizzle coming down, correct? Yeah, and fog too. Just a generally soggy atmosphere. Well, I have evidence that doesn't go with the soggy atmosphere. But this is a photo of the victim's body that was found in the car trunk. Considering the conditions at the scene of the crime, something isn't right. Well, by all means, please enlighten us as to what isn't right. What is it about this photo of the trunk that doesn't fit with the conditions that day? Boop. Naturally, the answer is right around here, I think. Well, Mr. Edgeworth? It seems to me that Miss Fey could use a trunk herself. What are you talking about? A genius of sarcasm and wordplay. Are you kidding me? Her coat isn't dirty. Oh, I'm angry. I hate when I have to click things in this game because it's very... Where do you want me to... It's her coat. Her coat isn't dirty. I don't know where on this coat I'm supposed to touch. But I'm gonna get penalized to hell. Stop it. Oh my god. Is it not the... Well, it has to be something. There's... I don't think... Because... So... The whole thing that we're proving is that she got pushed down onto her like stomach, and so the scarf got dirty because it touched the ground. She got pushed down, so her coat should be. Yeah, I don't think I'm hitting the right spot, but I should be able to touch anywhere on her jacket because it's her jacket. Should I do more center? Well, now I'm in danger of all these, because I'm getting penalized for no reason. Well, the car's stolen. That's not what we were trying to prove yet. We needed a... It's a wet... There's something to do with her, though, because it's a wet day, the scarf got dirty, she got pushed into the ground, but... If she really got pushed to the ground, then shouldn't she also be dirty? That's what we're trying to prove. So I have the right evidence. But I'm not touching the right place on the coat. And I could press all over this coat and still not get it. Are you kidding me? Is it broken? It works, Sprightly. No, I pressed her boobs like Sprightly told me to, and that was correct. The victim's coat. As far as I can see, there's nothing strange about it. That's exactly what's strange. That's really irritating. That's like absurdly irritating. I just wanted to poke the button. It's all part of the coat. I had a different problem in one of the earlier games where no matter where I pressed, it was like wrong, despite being right. Recall the testimony. What were the conditions on the bridge that day? Oh, it's true. Always back to Boba. It was drizzling and foggy. Dusky bridge was all wet. If the victim really had fallen down on her stomach on top of the bridge... Yeah, because they talked about stomach, so I pressed near the stomach, which was just like the buttons, and they were like, no. Incorrect. Then the front of her coat should have been covered in mud. That's exactly right. The other day I fell on a muddy street, and my gorgeous playoff beard was befouled. I do admit that the crime scene was quite wet that day. However, that doesn't mean that the top of the bridge itself was muddy. If Your Honor had fallen in the shower instead of on a muddy street, your glorious hockey beard of pride... your glorious hockey beard, pride of the legal lead, would be wet, but not muddy. Fortunately, I have yet to test that. Still, your point is well taken. Can you prove that the surface of the bridge was muddy that day? The surface of the bridge... Huh. Ha! A real man wouldn't stand for a taunt like this. Neither would a real woman. Of course I can. It's the scarf, right? Because the scarf is muddy? This is what it all comes back down to. The evidence is this scarf. Ah! It should be obvious. If the scarf fell onto the bridge and got this muddy, it means that the bridge was obviously covered in mud. I can't be outwitted by this novice bimbo. Hey, same to you, buddy. Miss Faye's assertion makes perfect sense to me. I do admit that there appears to be a contradiction between the condition of the victim's coat and her scarf. However, the real question is, why is there a contradiction? Huh? For every contradiction, there exists an explanation. Let's look at what the explanation in this case may be, shall we? Alright, it's not like he's really giving me a choice here. Ha! You're doing pretty well for a little kitten. Mr. Armando, no matter what he says, a contradiction always comes down to a lie. It's either the victim discovered in the trunk, the witness's photo showing the defendant and the victim, or the witness's testimony that stated she saw the moment of the murder. Just relax and think it over. It's pretty simple, isn't it? The false evidence is one of those three. What you said just now, I'm not sure I like that. That wasn't me, Your Honor. It was the coffee aficionado over there that said it. This court is not in the habit of accepting false evidence, you know. Blame it on him, Your Honor. He's the one trying to slip false evidence into court. But we won't let him. We'll expose the evidence as the flimsy scam it really is. Yes! The false evidence in this case is the... Well, It is a no-brainer. Obviously, it's the witness that's suspicious. During his earlier testimony, the detective pointed out a crucial fact. The criminal shoved the victim down from behind and stabbed her in the back. Now, is that testimony exactly what the witness claims to have seen? Yeah, that's what the witness told us. That testimony is filled with holes. After all, the victim's coat isn't dirty at all. That's true. It's not just true, it's the truth. If there was truly decisive witness in this case, I'm certain that boy wonder over there would have called them in the first place. Your Honor, the defense requests to cross-examine the eyewitness. The testimony presented so far is not only vague, but contradictory as well. Well, Mr. Edgeworth, it appears that we'll need to hear from your mystery witness after all. You should brace yourself for the brutal truth. Your Honor, the prosecution has no intention of hiding the witness from the court. We are prepared to present our witness at any time. Very well. Please bring forth your witness at this time. What Mr. Edgeworth said kind of worries me. What does he mean by the brutal truth? Now let's proceed with the testimony. Mr. Edgeworth, please go right ahead. Thank you, Your Honor. The prosecution summons the woman who saw the events that day with her very own eyes. This is it, Mia. The battle begins here. Witness, what is your name and occupation? Evil. Everyone is so silent that I can hear their hearts going pitter-patter. Oh. When I look at you, how can I put it? You look as scrumptious as a double-double and a dozen donut holes. I feel like I want to hurry up and hand down a verdict just to have a bite. That's gross. Hey, not so fast. As I said before, the witness is very sensitive and delicate. I would ask the court to please exercise care when addressing her. Yes, indeed. Thank you, Mr. Edgeworth. You are a true gentleman. Miss Faye, you could learn a lot from this man. If he's such a gentleman, he sure doesn't act like one to me. He did call her a bimbo. Sir? Yes, my dear? This is my first time, so I'm sure I'll make a lot of mistakes. Anyway, I just wanted to say I'm sorry for all the trouble I might cause. Not at all. It's no trouble at all. Now then, may we please have your name and occupation? My name is, Melissa Foster. I'm a college student, a freshman in the literature department. You were on the scene when the unfortunate event occurred, correct? She just lied about her name. And you were the one who took the photo? Is that accurate? Ah! How can you be so mean? Now see here, what are you doing shoving that in her face like that? Huh? But it's just a photograph. It's not like it's something dangerous. Next time I'll be forced to penalize you. Uh-oh. I don't like the turn this has taken. Is she staring at me? And you would be... Huh? I'm the defense attorney. My name is Mia Fey. I see. So you are... Now then, young lady, could you please give us your testimony? Yes, Your Honor. I'll do my best. I was using my camera to take some pictures of wildflowers. Then, I noticed there were two people standing up on the suspension bridge. Suddenly, they just started fighting. That's when I hurried and took this photo that shows the crucial moment. And right after that, I called the police. By the way, where were you standing when the incident occurred? I believe the map would be of help here. I was standing right over here. I was standing in a beautiful field surrounded by tall cliffs. So you took the photo from that location, eh? I brought the camera I was using at the time, just like Mr. Edgeworth asked me to. Yeah, that's the very first thing I noticed. What a cute camera, just like its owner. Alright then, Miss Faye. Time for your cross-examination. But I warn you, make the witness cry again, and you'll feel the wrath of my gavel. I was using my camera to take some pictures of wildflowers. Did you say wildflowers? Yes, the mountain is famous for its beautiful spring wildflowers. But it's only February. Well, I couldn't wait for spring to come. Oh, I know just how you feel. It's just like when I first started growing this glorious beard of mine. I just couldn't wait, so I wore a dyed blonde Santa beard until mine grew in properly. Would you mind if we got back to the facts of the case, Your Honor? Then I noticed there were two people standing up on the suspension bridge. Was there anything strange about the two of them? I'm a bad girl. I know I am. It looked like they were having a really serious conversation up there, so I decided to watch them like some kind of peeping Tom. No, not at all. Everyone is like that. I love watching other people fight too. In fact, I can't get enough of it. Actually, that's why I took this job in the first place. Too much info, Your Honor. In any case, it's perfectly natural for you to have kept watching them. Especially dressed as they were. Well, anyway, I was watching them very closely. Suddenly, they just started fighting. Do you have any idea what they were fighting about? No, I have no idea. Why do you ask that? Oh, I just thought that maybe you overheard what they said. I would never eavesdrop. I've got more class than that. That's right, Miss Faye. Don't drag the witness down to your level. That's when I hurried and took the photo that shows the crucial moment. Why did you take a photo? Well, the two of them were really going at it. Ever since I was a little girl, I always wanted to be a news reporter. I guess that part of me just kind of took over. Smells like a lie to me. Yes, I understand completely. Even now, I can't completely abandon my boyhood dreams. I still use my grandson to test my comedy routines on. So I wanted to be a comedian, huh? Not that it has any bearing on this. All I could do was use my camera. So I took the photo of the crucial moment and gave it to the police. And right after that, I called the police. You called the police? Yes, because it looked to me like a murderer was going to try and escape. We were already moving before the call even came in. Thanks to the victim's note, we had already started our operation. That was certainly tough luck for the criminal, eh? If Terry Follis isn't the criminal, then there must be something strange in that girl's testimony. Be careful, kitten. That girl has the judge wrapped tight around her little finger. You're going to have a tough time poking holes in that testimony of hers. You're going to have to come up with something really good, Mia. Okay. I think... She said she took a picture of a crucial moment, but there's nothing happening in this photo. Never mind that she probably couldn't see what was going on because there's a cliff right there. We need to discuss this first. Oh, I want to submit it. I think. I'm so scared of losing more points. Witness, when you said you took a photo of the crucial moment, is this what you meant? All I can see in this photo are two people facing each other. You testified that you saw the two of them starting to fight. Normally that's the kind of thing we would refer to as a crucial moment. Why haven't you presented a photo like that? Well, you see... The photo we presented was the only one there was. But if you really wanted to capture the crucial moment, then what happened next? You must have taken a photo of it. My apologies, young lady, but Miss Faye's assertion is not without a certain amount of merit. He can certainly downplay a situation, can't he? I'm sorry. I'm a very bad girl. I used it all up. The film, I mean. You ran out of film. This photo was the last one. What? Unfortunately, that is the truth. I personally examined all of the photographs she took that day. All the other photos are of the witness herself playing among the wild flowers. The witness herself? Then who took the photos? Well, you see, my camera has a timer feature built into it. So you took photos of yourself? I remember taking some photos of myself once too. Please, no details. It seems that Miss Faye's assertions, were not so decisive after all. Oh, wait, just a minute! Well, if she had no film left, she couldn't very well take more pictures, eh? Miss Foster, perhaps then you could tell us about a different sort of photo. Photos of the incident that you took with your very own eyes. Mr. Edgeworth, you're quite the poet. Very well then, let's get back to the cross-examination. Let's hear your thoughts on the fight that you witnessed. Yes, Mr. Judge. Boy, this guy is really a sucker for sweet talk. Huh. It looks like the other kitten in the room is the one that's getting all the attention. Yeah, it's sickening. I was using my camera to take some pictures of wildflowers, then I noticed there were people on the bridge. Suddenly started fighting. The victim tried to turn around and tried to run away. But the victim, why do you think she tried to run away? With her police training, she certainly knew better than to turn her back on a criminal. This was a large, powerful man with a knife. If it had been a quaggy woman like you, I'm sure she would have acted differently. Quaggy? I don't even know what that word means. If it had been me, I probably would have jumped into the river. There's still something wrong with this testimony. She only got about 10 yards before she was stabbed in the back. So you're saying Sergeant Hawthorne wasn't able to get away from him? Well, it's a narrow bridge, and it was swaying back and forth. If you ask me, both of them were in danger of falling off. I only wish I could have done something to help her. That seems to make sense. I wonder about that. Something seems kind of off. Ha! Doesn't now? You have a good sixth sense. When you feel that something's off, that's when you need to figure out why. If Terry Follis isn't the criminal, then there must be something strange in that girl's testimony. Be careful, kitten. That girl has the judge wrapped around her little finger. Okay, I think I know what's happening. You can't run back. So I believe, judging by her other picture, the police officer was here and Terry was here, so she couldn't run. I think that's right.
Objection!
Witness, your testimony is a joke. Huh? What? But I just... Miss Faye, I thought I warned you not to make the witness cry. One short testimony and two bad contradictions. There's no possible excuse. You say there were 2 contradictions? It's simple. Just take a look at the diagram of the area. According to her testimony, the 2 of them were in the middle of the bridge. But if they were, and the victim turned around and tried to run, well, then, she would have hit a dead end. You said 10 yards, but she couldn't have run even 5. Because Dusky Bridge is collapsed on that side. Ugh. What does all this mean? It's very simple, Your Honor. This charming little witness told a charming little lie. That's all there is to it. Oh no, I dropped my phone right on the ground. This beautiful young lady has been lying to the court? You lie to me yet? Just a moment, Your Honor. Mr. Edgeworth. Your Honor, allow me to personally apologize for the confusion. Jail for witness. What do you mean? There's one major mistake in this diagram. What did you say? What are you referring to? It's all because this diagram was made after the incident occurred. It's a very old bridge. We couldn't find any official blueprints of it. So you're saying... I am saying that even though this bridge is currently in disrepair, there's no evidence that can prove the bridge was broken during the incident. That's ridiculous! You can't actually tell the condition of the bridge from this photo. I apologize to the court for not being more clear when I presented the evidence. This is some crazy bullshit. Huh, that guy is good. Huh? What do you mean? He planned it from the beginning. He's a genius, alright. That diagram of the bridge was his insurance policy. What? That coward. Well, Miss Faye, it seems you've once again made a reckless accusation. I'm so sorry. I should have been more careful myself. No. It wasn't your fault at all. Now then, shall we go on with this trial? I'd like to establish once and for all what it was that the witness actually saw. Indeed. Alright, young lady. May I ask you to please proceed with your testimony? But it's so hard to go on. We're all on your side, Miss Foster. There's no need to worry. Just tell us what you saw. Yes, sir. After he stabbed her in the back, he quickly picked her up in his arms. Then he carried her over to the car. I suppose that was the only way he could make sure the body stayed hidden. He couldn't just leave the body on top of the bridge. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm only supposed to talk about what I saw. Witnessing such violence must have been difficult. Yes, sir. I'm still shaken up. If he accepts this testimony as it is, we're finished. Don't say that. Oh well. Maybe I'll stop off at my favorite cafe on the way home. They make a really great mocha latte. This trial isn't over yet. That's what I like to hear. Alright, Miss Faye. Your cross-examination, if you please. The contradiction is staring you right in the face, Mia. Go on the attack. After he stabbed her in the back, he quickly picked her up in his arms. Are you saying that the victim didn't fall down on the bridge? Actually, maybe she did fall? Of course she didn't fall down on the bridge. If she had fallen down, this photo wouldn't make any sense. If that was the case, her coat would have been all muddy. If you don't mind, I was asking the witness. No need to be so rude. Well, young lady? Of course she didn't fall down. The man in the prison uniform grabbed her before she could. Ha! We're one step too slow. And then what did the defendant do after that? Then he carried her over to the car. You personally witnessed that? Yes. Did anything strange happen when he did that? Well, I don't know if you'd call it strange or not, but that's when the victim's scarf fell off. You mean this scarf? Her words match what we found at the scene. I didn't see any problem. I suppose that was the only way he could make sure the body stayed hidden. I don't think she can see all this. There's a cliff right there. Oh shit. Yeah, there's absolutely no way. She can't see the car. She can barely see what's happening anyway. I'm just gonna straight up present this. Yeah, well, yeah. I think so. I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm gonna keep pressing. You mean the defendant carried the body all by himself? Yes. Considering the size of the defendant, I don't think it would be difficult. Yes, but let's remember they were on a narrow bridge that was ready to collapse. Is it even possible for him to have carried a dead body on a bridge like that? Well, the fact of the matter is that he did. This kind of talk is just silly. Wow, why did he get so emotional all of a sudden? Miss Faye, if you think there's some other possibility, please share it with the rest of us. Okay, so it is that one. Because the dialogue said so. I don't know if it's the bridge, though. Okay. A killer not wanting his victim to be found, I can understand that. However, the idea of moving the body for that purpose is clearly odd. There was a much easier way to make sure the body wasn't found. We're not going to talk about... We're not going to talk about how she didn't see the car. We're going to talk about how he should have thrown the body into the river. That didn't even occur to me. Well, what is it? Take another look at the map of the area and you'll see how. There's a river right below the bridge. Earlier, Mr. Edgeworth pointed out something interesting about the river. For those who are not aware, Eel River is well known for its powerful current. Most bodies that fall in are never recovered. Ah! In the kidnapping case 5 years ago, the victim's body was carried away and never found. If 10 murders were to occur at that same spot above the Eagle River, you can bet your boots that every other killer would have tossed the body into the water. Order, order, order. I'm not sure if I care for the way you put that, Miss Faye, but I must admit, it does seem odd not to have thrown the body into the river. Oh, well, Mr. Edgeworth, how sad. Perhaps Miss Faye would do well to try taking a dip in the river herself. After all, you claim to be such an expert in the ways of nature. What are you talking about? My point is that no matter how odd you may find the killer's method of body disposal, the fact is that this is what the killer did. None of your arguments have anything to do with what the witness saw. Quite true. Miss Faye, it seems that your assertion was without merit after all. But what the witness claims to have seen is totally ridiculous. Surely you can't deny that the body was found in the trunk of the car. That's certainly consistent with what the witness has told us. Ugh. Please, witness, go on with your testimony. Yeah, it doesn't matter how he disposed or didn't dispose of the body. He didn't dispose of it that way. Why aren't we talking about the other obvious evidence that she couldn't have seen him put the body in the car? I'll try. All you have to do is tell us only what you saw. Otherwise, the mean lady might yell at you again. Who is he talking about? All right, I'll do my best. After he stabbed her in the back, he quickly picked her up and put her in his arms, then he carried her over to the car. The killer broke into the trunk of the stolen car and hid the body in there. Okay. That is incorrect, because you could not have seen that. What did the man do then? Well, naturally he got in the car and was about to flee. That's when I came to my senses. I said to myself, you have to call the police. And so that's when you called the police? You're sure that you saw that with your own eyes? Yes, I'm 100% certain. Okay. I present the bridge map again, I guess? Well, Miss Foster, it looks like you've done it this time. Done what? Made a crucial mistake. A crucial mistake? Like what, Miss Faye? The killer broke into the trunk of the stolen car and hid the body in there. You're saying you saw that, right? With your very own eyes? Yes, and? It's simple, Miss Foster. Take a look at this diagram. The place you claimed you've taken the photo from that day is here. Do you see what I mean? Even if you tried to see the car, this outcropping of rock is directly in the way. Oh, that's right, Miss Foster. From where you were standing, you could not have possibly seen the killer's car. I admit the diagram shows a large outcropping of rock. However, it isn't so tall that it would stop her from seeing the car. That's right. It's not high at all. I was able to see his car just fine. That's bullshit. I'm so sorry, but that just doesn't wash. I believe it was the witness who presented this as evidence to the court, yes? This is the location that the photo was taken from. Your own photo tells the whole story. You can clearly see the left side of the bridge, but the outcropping that is being referred to is really more like a cliff. Ah. Your view should have been completely cut off by this cliff, but still you claim to have been able to see the killer's car. No! Order! Order in the courtroom! What is the meaning of all this ballyhoo? What is that? Your Honor, don't jump to any hasty conclusions. The fact that the escapee fled in a stolen car was reported on the news. After witnessing a murder, I'm sure you can appreciate the witness was very upset. She must have heard about the stolen car and convinced herself that she saw it. But she was repeatedly warned before starting her testimony. She was told to testify only about what she saw with her own eyes. Oh. Mr. Judge? What is it? I think I must have remembered things wrong. Hey, wait a minute. You can't just say that. Miss Faye, no one on the face of the planet is perfect. Yes, indeed. Quite true. You know what they say. To err is human, to forgive, divine. I'm inclined to give the benefit of the doubt to our witness here. What? That's not fair. Ha. Save the tears for later, kitten. Mr. Armando. Don't look back until the trial's over. Now is the time to go forward. But that wasn't fair. Okay, kitten, you need to relax. Then you need to remember. The other kitten's testimony. The killer broke into the trunk of the stolen car and hid the body in there. So tell me, how did she know that? How did she know that he broke into the trunk? Ah! Well, Miss Foster, until you can explain how you knew that, you're going to have a lot of very suspicious people on this side of the courtroom. Well, witness? Well, I'm certain that he broke into the trunk because there were marks left on the trunk lid. I'm certain they were scratch marks from when he broke into it. What? Let me see that photo. It's true. These certainly look like scratch marks around the keyhole. It's obvious that this trunk has been broken open. Well, Miss Faye, are you satisfied? The judge is on her side. I can't make any mistakes here. What she just said, is there a contradiction in there somewhere? Yes. Melissa Foster, it looks like you finally betrayed yourself. What? You said you were in a field taking photos of wildflowers, but even so, you knew about the scratches? The question is when? When did you get a chance to see those scratches? Finally, I've got her. I'm getting pretty tired of waiting over here. Then perhaps it would be faster if Miss Faye explained herself. Your Honor, there's only one possible explanation. The reason the witness had seen the scratches was... Damn. Let's just go with that one. Let's get wild in here. There's only one way that the witness had the chance to see those scratches. Yes, what is it? Naturally, when she opened the trunk and stuffed the corpse in herself. That's a bold-ass claim. The person who really hid the body in the trunk of that car was... Melissa Foster. If it was you that did it, it was you that did it, wasn't it? That's ridiculous! I could never! It was the man in the prison car, but he's the one that... I don't think so, Miss Foster. If Mr. Fawless had been the one that put the corpse in the trunk, he would have simply used the car key. There was no need to break it open. But he stole the car. He stole it from a young couple that had been waiting at a red light, which means that the key would have still been in the ignition. Oh, I see. Thank you for telling us about the scratches, Miss Foster. Without that, we never would have uncovered the truth. She doesn't get locked up for this, though, Sprightly. She gets away with it because she's here a year later, and we use this case. I know we don't win this case because of the very first trial, so something crazy happens. We're probably gonna find out what happened to Godot too from this trial. I assume he wouldn't be here if we weren't about to learn something. That it couldn't have been Mr. Fawless that put the body in the trunk. Thank you for the sippy. I am in dire need. Preposterous to even suggest that the witness put the body in there. If that were true, then how do you explain the photo that she took? The corpse could only have been put in the trunk when the incident occurred. We already know at the time she was taking photographs. Now is your chance, Mia. Finish this thing. On the contrary, I'm not so certain about that anymore, Mr. Edgeworth. There's no need to think too deeply about it. What I'm saying is the shutter for this may not have been pushed by Miss Foster herself. Oh, because it has a timer function. Let's take another look at this camera and see what features it has, shall we? It has a timer built into it, even a mini tripod. Why, it's almost as if she bought this camera just to take this picture. What are you trying to say then, Miss Faye? That when the crime occurred, Miss Foster wasn't in the field, as she claimed? Well, if she really did use the camera auto timer, then the answer is yes. She was somewhere else. Exactly. She was not in the field. Would the defense please explain further? Listen, this is a crucial point. Where was Miss Foster when the incident occurred? In answering that question, will also make clear Miss Foster's true identity. Well then, please answer this question. Where was Melissa Foster when the incident on the bridge occurred? I have no idea. Is the person in the photograph, not in the car, but the other one, is that not the victim at all? And it's Dahlia, or whatever her fake name is, Melissa. Where is Melissa in this place? If she wasn't here taking pictures, where was she? And there are some things that don't make sense. Because the victim was stabbed, she would have hit the ground, but she didn't. I know, but she also wasn't wearing the right colored scarf. Which makes me think that the victim, our current victim, but if so, here's the problem. After this man, I wish I could look at my evidence. This is, I hate these button questions because they're really super vague. I don't think she was over here because if the killer killed the victim and she was close enough to see that happen, if Melissa was close enough to see that happen, she would have gotten killed too, right? Like, that just makes sense. She wasn't here. I really wish I had read the autopsy report. I want to say, because the car was unnecessarily broken into. Our defendant says he didn't kill her. Now, if we go with that, the body was also in the trunk, and it was forcefully broken into. So here's what I think happened, and this is too vague. If she was near the car, I don't think that's gonna work. So, what we're arguing is that she put the body in the car. So she set up her camera, and then she's over here. She breaks into the car, puts the body in the car, then sets up this vantage point. I guess. I don't know what the killer's doing or our defendant is doing during all of this. But I think it's Dahlia on the bridge. And she set up that photo spot. But I don't know how she does this and puts the body in the car. Because if things... Because nothing... There's the wrong colored scarf, and if he had stabbed the actual person, then she would have hit the ground. We're saying that she got caught, but I don't think that's right. So I think Dahlia set up this whole scene to frame this dude for and she killed the cop, I guess? I don't know. It's very... I don't have nearly enough information. I just don't think I'll... If I click this, I don't think it'll be... It's gonna go. I don't trust these button pressing questions. I'm gonna... I don't know. Naturally, the witness was right here. But that's where the victim, Miss Hawthorne, was standing. Order, order, order. Miss Faye, what on earth? Your Honor, if I may. After parting with the victim on the bridge, the defendant fled by car. But this would mean that there was no time to put the victim in the trunk. In other words, if someone put the body in the trunk, it could only have been before the defendant met the victim. How asinine! Of course Miss Fawless met with the victim. The only person with the opportunity to have put the victim in the trunk is the same man that killed her, Terry Fawless. You still don't understand, do you, Mr. Edgeworth? By the time the witness's photo was taken, the victim was already dead. The person in the photo was not Valerie Hawthorne. What? I've never heard anything more ridiculous in my entire life. Then who exactly is the victim in this photo? It's obvious, isn't it? It's your own witness. What? It's the only possible explanation. The woman that Mr. Fawless met on the bridge that day was not Valerie Hawthorne. It was you, Melissa Foster. Me? Let's remember that it was raining and foggy on the mountain that day. Mr. Fawless himself believed that the woman in front of him was Valerie Hawthorne. But the defendant knew Valerie Hawthorne very well. After all, she was the woman whose testimony helped get him convicted. But since then, my client has spent 5 hard years in a federal penitentiary. He couldn't remember exactly what she looked like anymore. You are just making this up as you go along. Where is your proof? I've got it all right here. This piece of evidence will blow this case wide open. At the time of the incident, Mr. Fawless had forgotten what Valerie Hawthorne looked like. Oh, it's the note, right? Because he didn't remember what she looked like. I sincerely wish I could have looked at my evidence during that. That would have made that whole thing way more easier to... That bridge, wear white scarf for identification. Talk to Dahlia. Tell her this time the whole truth must come out. Mr. Fawless had forgotten the victim's face. That's why he needed some piece of identification. Namely, this muddy scarf. It was Mr. Fawless who requested that she wear this scarf to identify herself. That's already been proven by the note the victim left. In other words, as long as you're wearing a scarf, like he asked, anyone could have pretended to be Valerie Hawthorne. Well, what do you have to say to that, Melissa Foster? Oh, no. Where's Miss Foster? She's collecting herself in the lobby. It's obvious that Melissa Foster did it. She hid the body in the trunk and disguised herself as the victim. She set up the camera to snap a fake photo of them together. The only question is, why did she do it? Well, isn't that obvious? She's the real culprit. Ha. Well, we'll have to wait for Miss Foster to compose herself before we start again. Until then, this court is in recess. The defense and the prosecution are both to wait in their respective lobbies. Yes, Your Honor. Understood. Very well. The court is in recess. I don't think the second half is going to be very long. Because here's what we know happens. During this recess, Melissa Foster, aka Dahlia, goes and poisons somebody, and then the trial sort of ends in disaster. It was enough to make Mia stop wanting to be a defense attorney. And I assume that the person who gets poisoned, because it was a lawyer, I think they said, is probably Diego. So I feel like this is not going to be very long, and we could probably finish it. And I guess there's one more trial after this one. I can't imagine this is actually the last trial. We'll see how far we get. Mr. Fallis. Ugh. I'm sorry. I want to say thanks. You're real good. You really hooked me up. Thanks. We're almost there. Once I prove that she committed the crime. Yeah, but there's one more big obstacle we've got to get past. Obstacle? Yeah. Motive. Why would Melissa Foster kill that policewoman anyway? Motive, huh? Anyway, we're still badly in need of information. Information, right. What we need the most is info about this Melissa Foster herself. All we know is that she's a student studying literature. And one more thing. What is it? Well, the incident that happened 5 years ago, of course. The kidnapping murder case that Zebra Boy is on death row for. I didn't do nothing! I didn't kill nobody! I never lie! Mr. Fallis, in that case, tell us more about it. About what happened 5 years ago. Okay, I trust you. That day, 5 years ago, I dream of it every day. This picture, it reminds me everything. Bridge looks same, just like then, 5 years ago. Like it could fall apart any minute. So it's been broken like that for at least 5 years. Ha, sorry buddy, but you sound like the one that could fall apart at any minute. It's true, I did kidnap her. 5 years ago, I kidnapped my girlfriend, Dahlia Hawthorne. Your girlfriend? Huh. Hey, hold on there. Did you say Hawthorne? The victim's last name. Dahlia Hawthorne. Valerie's little sister. What? Are you serious? Shut up. Come closer and I'll kill her. Sorry, but you're not going to get the chance. The detective back then was Valerie Hawthorne. At first I thought shooting someone for kidnapping was crossing the line, but if it was to protect her little sister, I can understand why she did it. Wrong! No protect sister! Valerie betrayed me! Betray us! What do you mean she betrayed you? Everything. All lies. All make-believe. Kidnapping, too. A make-believe kidnapping? Dahlia, my girlfriend, my love, my teen angel. Ugh, did he actually say my teen angel? He's seen too many soap operas. I'd do anything she says. Anything Dahlia says. Anything Dahlia says. Hold on a minute. what you're saying is that the kidnapping 5 years ago was planned by, yeah, me and Dahlia. And Valerie, too. Valerie was in on it? Dahlia's family, rich. Jewelry business. We get 1 jewel. That's what we thought. Me and Dahlia wrote kidnap note. We send to her dad. Ask for $2 million diamond. Tell him to make an exchange on Dusky Bridge. We tell him Valerie make transfer because she knew detective. Having a police detective in your pocket is a useful thing, all right. In the end, you were planning on splitting the 2 million 3 ways, huh? Yeah, but that woman... That woman, Valerie, she do it for real. She shoot at me for real. Me and Dahlia. I was shot in the arm. Dahlia, she jump in river. Jump? You don't mean she jumped on purpose, do you? I couldn't do it. I could never push her. Anyway, I blacked out. Woke up with police all over. And that's when they decided to give you the death sentence. I couldn't believe it. That woman, she betrayed me. That man, Terry Flawless, he killed her. He threw her off the bridge. He threw my beloved sister into the roaring river 40 feet below. These 5 years, all I wonder is why? Why? Why did she lie? That's all I want to know. So that's why you called her. You wanted to hear the truth from Valerie herself. Yes, but I forgot what she looked like, so I tell her to wear a scarf. I don't want to hurt her. Just ask why. Why? Why did you lie? Why did you betray me? I just want to hear her answer come from her mouth. That's all. So that's why. That's why you made a crazy escape like that. Just one thing, zebra boy. My senses are tingling all over. Tell me, Mr. Flawless, where is it? Huh? Where's what? Come on now, kitten. The ransom. The $2 million diamond. Remember that now? Did you give it back to Pops? Did the police take it? I don't know. Huh? You don't know? No, really, I don't know. It's gone. With Dahlia. With Dahlia? That day, on the bridge, Dahlia put it in backpack. Now gone. With Dahlia. Gone forever. Into Eagle River. It disappeared with Dahlia, huh? Wait a minute. You can come back in now. We're about ready to go. Mr. Flawless, just one more question. When you said with Dahlia, do you mean the diamond is still missing? Along with the body of Dahlia Hawthorne? Never found her. My sweet Dahlia. They never found her. Swallowed by river. Gone. Dahlia, my teen angel. Your teen angel? How old was she anyway? Just 14? 14?! Hold on. 25! Fuck, dude! Holy shit, dude. That's bad! You can't do that! I guess you were robbing cradles before diamonds. Ah! She plans a fake kidnapping and disappears under the river with a rock worth 2 million. Man, oh man. Angels these days. We should have stopped. Flawless takes the fall and gets a one-way ticket to death row. Is Dahlia Hawthorne an angel? Or is she really a... It's time, kitten. It looks like we have a few more aces up our sleeve now. You bet. The training wheels come off now, Maya. You've got to strike while the iron is hot. Mia. Her name is Mia. That's one of my rules. Remember it. Now then, let's continue with the trial of Mr. Terry Fallis. Witness, are you feeling better? 'Cause I'm not. Yes, Your Honor. I'll try my best. You're a brave young lady. Not this again. I can understand a defense lawyer wanting to get her client off the hook. However, try to pin the crime on an innocent student is... What are you talking about? My witness is not the person on trial here. She's an innocent bystander who witnessed a violent crime. That's all. What possible reason would a girl like this have for murdering a policewoman? It's certainly hard to imagine this woman as a murderer. Her motive, huh? I figured that's what I had to establish next. Well, Miss Faye, do you have any evidence of a motive? Yes, of course. I think. Ha! You're still acting as tame as a kitten. Mr. Armando. Listen. A lawyer is someone who smiles, no matter how bad it gets. Aw. Smiling on the outside, while your guts are twisted in knots, is the mark of a pro. Maybe so, but I wish you would quit grinning at me like that. Excuse me. May I speak, Mr. Judge? Of course. Mr. Judge is ready anytime you like. I'd like to say something. Some people here are suspicious of me, right? That's why I at least wanted you, Mr. Judge, to know that it's not true. I see. You're such an honest and upstanding young lady. Looks like this witness is a real professional. What do you mean? Look at that 100-watt smile. Just when things are darkest for her, click, she lights right up. Very well then. Let's hear what the witness has to say. I was out of the country until the year before last. Until I entered college, I had never even been to Eagle Mountain before. And I certainly don't have any reason for wanting to hurt a police officer. Holding a grudge and killing the officer who testified against you 5 years ago? Or kidnapping a poor girl? I just think the defendant is a terrible, horrible monster. Out of the country, eh? Precisely. Furthermore, she has no possible motive for committing murder. Indeed. You're up to bat, kitten. Sharpen those claws and put on your best smile. You bet. Somehow, I have to tie her to this case. I was out of the country until the year before last. So, what country were you living in then? We were all living abroad, but after my parents were killed, it was a brutal civil war. She had to try to make her way back home alone. I lost everything. I didn't even have any personal identification. What kind of sob story is this? What do I do? Should I press her for details? No. We don't want that. There's nothing I can do about her claim to have lost all her identification. All I can do is wait and find some other evidence about her real identity. Very well then, Miss Foster. Please proceed. Until I entered college, I had never even been to Eagle Mountain before. So what made you decide to go to Eagle Mountain anyway? I just love being outdoors. Picnics, hiking, you know, that sort of thing. You don't look much of a hiker to me, but you do look like a digger of sorts. But Eagle Mountain is a 2-hour drive from here, and no trains run through here. There are plenty of mountains that are closer and easier to get to. Well, I went there once with the college hiking club. I fell in love with its stark, desolate beauty and its cold yet romantic gloominess. Didn't know you were such a goth. By the way, what's the name of your college? The prosecution objects to any questions that involve the witness's personal life, or private life. All that matters is that she is a material witness to the crime. The witness doesn't need to respond to questions that are clearly malicious in intent. Thank you! She's really gone too far! Miss Faye, you're treading on thin ice here. I hardly said anything. Talk about sensitive. And I certainly don't have any reason for wanting to hurt a police officer. Perhaps, but your behavior that day was very suspicious. Not only have you contradicted yourself here in court, but you know things you shouldn't. For example, the scratches on the trunk of the car. Well, that's... Unfortunately, Miss Faye, your last statement proves nothing. Oh, really? And why is that? The witness came to the police station once to identify the suspect. It's entirely possible that at the time, an officer showed her this photo. That seems like a rather serious mistake. That's the oldest trick in the prosecutor's book. That's not fair. That wicked inmate. I'll never be able to forget that horrible day. Holding a grudge and killing the officer who testified against you 5 years ago. A grudge. Well, the policewoman's testimony was crucial, wasn't it? Crucial in getting the defendant sentenced to death? Yes, and that's precisely why he harbored such deep anger against her. So much anger that he forgot his own guilt. My client has always maintained that he's innocent of those charges. He seems rather forgetful, your client, I mean. Not only did he forget about what he did, but he forgot the poor policewoman as well. What do you mean by that? Your client. He forgot what the detective looked like, right? It's too bad for her that he didn't forget about her testimony as well. Well, she's right about that. Mr. Flawless is kind of forgetful. You said he forgot what the detective looked like. What did you mean by that? Well, he couldn't tell who she was without some kind of identification, right? Quite right. That's why the victim was wearing a scarf as identification. Why, if I had been wearing a white scarf that day, then he probably would have tried to kill me. That's true. He's clearly a bitter man. This is bad. Mr. Flawless's reputation just keeps getting worse and worse. Sometimes it's best not to poke too deep. What should I do with that last statement? Your Honor, what the witness said just now was tremendously important. I'd like it added to the official testimony. The prosecution has no objection. After all, the defendant is a killer and a mentally unbalanced one at that. The testimony only helps further prove that point. No, that's not why I... Enough. Witness if you would. My pleasure, Mr. Judge. I guess I'm lucky I wasn't wearing a white scarf. Witness, I want you to look at this photo you took. It's hard to see in the photo, but look at the scarf the victim wore as identification. Oh, you're talking about this scarf right here, eh? Yes, that's it. The scarf the policewoman was wearing. I've got her now. Just don't mess up. But that's strange. In your testimony, you stated the following. I guess I'm lucky I wasn't wearing a white scarf. White? This is the scarf you identified as belonging to the victim. But it certainly doesn't look white to me. Oh. Well, it was foggy that day, and it was raining as well. It's not surprising that she mistook it for white. Sorry, but not this time. The witness just confirmed that this was the victim's scarf. Yes, but what's the significance? It's true that the scarf doesn't look white, but there's only one explanation for this mix-up. The reason why the witness thought the scarf was white is... Witness, have you ever seen this note? Note? No, never. It's top secret evidence. There's no reason that you would have. I wonder about that. What do you mean? This note shows Mr. Flawless's instructions to the victim regarding their meeting. It says, wear white scarf for identification. White scarf. Ah! Witness, you knew what this note said. And it's because you knew that you slipped up and mistakenly said white scarf. Well, Miss Foster? No! Order, order. Mr. Edgeworth, I'm waiting for an explanation. I'm quite sure this note wasn't leaked to the public. And yet, this witness knew exactly what the note said. At the time of the murder, the number of people that knew were quite limited. Terry Flawless is one of them. The person who wrote the note, Valerie Hawthorne, is another. And finally, one more person. Did you say one more person? That's right. A person that no one would have suspected. Have you figured it out, kitten? Yep. The third person that knew the contents of the note was... Oh shit. Hang on there, kitten. What is it, Mr. Armando? Here, I made some special cafe con leche for you. I put in plenty of sugar. Drink it up before it gets cold. Don't be shy. Why are you doing this? Your brain needs stimulation. Drink some of this and think it over again. Listen, keep messing up like that and you're gonna get the judge mad. Miss Faye! Don't just stand there casually drinking coffee. Shit. Oops. I think it's too late. But, Your Honor, there is one more person. There is a person besides Miss Flawless and the victim that knew what the note said. That's right. A person that no one would have suspected. Ugh. I even looked at it and I was like, nah. And that person is Dahlia Hawthorne. Even though I know they're the same person, nobody else in the courtroom does. So I have to roll it back. Dahlia Hawthorne. I've never heard that name before. Look at the victim's note. This is what it says. Talk to Dahlia. Tell her this time. There is her name right there. What's this? So who is this person? This Dahlia Hawthorne. Miss Faye must be desperate if she's trying to bring the dead back to life. The dead? Dahlia Hawthorne was the victim's deceased younger sister. She was killed in a crime 5 years ago. Killed in a crime? You don't mean... Yes, she was kidnapped and killed by Terry Flawless. You said she was killed, but was she really? What are you implying? Of course, people thought she had died 5 years ago, when she fell off the Dusky Bridge and was lost in the Eagle River. However, her corpse was never found. She was declared legally dead 5 years ago. As far as the law is concerned, Dahlia Hawthorne is officially dead. But the fact remains that her body was never recovered. Dahlia Hawthorne was 14 years old 5 years ago. If she were still alive, she would be 19 now. Melissa Foster. I believe that's the same age you are. Ugh. Even you couldn't. Miss Faye, you're not saying. But I am. That's precisely what I'm saying. This witness before us is the girl that was kidnapped and killed 5 years ago. This girl is in fact Miss Dahlia Hawthorne. What? Nice work. That was like tossing a grenade into a 3-alarm fire. But unless you can tie all the loose ends together, you're nothing but a hit-and-run arsonist. I understand. If I can expose her true nature, I can turn this whole case on its head. Now is my chance to make Mr. Edgeworth squirm. Witness, who are you anyway? I didn't think it'd come to this. That's enough. You don't have to say any more, witness. Yes, I understand. What? Mr. Edgeworth, explain yourself. Your Honor, I have an admission to make. I honestly never thought the defense would pursue this matter this far. You don't mean... Yes, the prosecutor's office isn't filled with fools, you know. Naturally, we conduct full background checks on all of our witnesses. What did he say? It looks like the kid knew. He knew her true identity from the get-go. No way, but then why? If you hadn't revealed her secret, he wasn't going to say anything about it. All he wanted was her testimony, so he made a little trade. Let me introduce you to the victim's younger sister, Miss Dahlia Hawthorne. But... I thought she died 5 years ago. We thought so as well, but, well, as you can see. Why did she hide her identity for 5 years? That has nothing to do with the current case. Man just says things. She was merely an accidental witness to a crime. Accidental? I don't believe that for a minute. For the last 5 years, she's been playing the role of victim. And now we find her acting suspiciously at the scene of another murder. Really, Miss Faye, I must say your strategy here is painfully obvious. You're trying to pin your client's crime on an innocent witness in order to win. At any cost. How dare you? Please, let us take a moment to think. 5 years ago, this girl was kidnapped and nearly killed. But even worse than that, 5 years later, Dahlia Hawthorne lost something much more precious. Her big sister. Miss Faye must be insane to even suggest that she murdered her. What? I'm inclined to agree with the prosecutor's logic. Miss Faye, do you have any evidence to back up your assertion? What possible reason could this witness have for killing her beloved sister? Well, you see, I thought I was winning, but somehow he's turned it around on me. I think you need a little push in the right direction, kitten. The defense is prepared to prevent evidence supporting our claim. That wasn't me. It was this guy, this crazy coffee addict. I think we've heard enough empty threats from you, old man. What makes you think they're empty, boy? Because your protege looks like she's sweating bullets. I am sweating bullets. You think you're in a tough spot, huh? Of course! Aren't I? Nah. You've just arrived at the moment of truth. That's all. Whether you win or lose, that's up to you. Up to me? The rashness of youth, how charming. This coming from someone younger than me. Now then, let's not waste any more time. Miss Faye, what motive would this witness have for murdering her sister, Valerie Hawthorne? I don't fucking know. It's probably too early to drop the diamond. But the whole truth is, about to... yeah. This story starts after Terry Fallis escaped. He called Valerie and told her he wanted to meet. This is the note she left. It says, "Talk to Dahlia. Tell her this time the whole truth must come out." Valerie Hawthorne gave Dahlia a warning. She told her she was going to reveal to the world the whole truth. The whole truth? There was a dangerously important secret between Valerie and Dahlia. That's the reason Dahlia felt she had to kill Valerie, to keep her mouth shut permanently. A terrific story, Miss Faye, if you like fiction, that is. Enlighten the court, Miss Faye. What was the secret that was so important? Where's your evidence? Dahlia and Valerie Hawthorne, and Terry Fallis. There's only one important secret that connects them all. Oh yes, I know this secret. Your Honor, the defense would like to request further testimony. What testimony? Regarding the kidnapping 5 years ago, we believe it will explain a lot of things, such as the nature of the important secret between the Hawthorne sisters. Very well, I'll grant your request for further testimony. I know it'll be painful for you, but can you enlighten us once more, my little maple leaf? He called her a little maple leaf. Just in case we forgot that this man is Canadian. This is so bad. This is the worst. Yes, I'll try, Mr. Judge. Putting on the old charm one more time, Dahlia. But this will be the last time you hide behind your womanly wiles. I'm gonna fucking die. 5 years ago, I was kidnapped by Mr. Fallis. Oh, it's time to end. Fuck. The ransom price was a rare diamond my sister Valerie brought it to the bridge. After she made the exchange, she shot Mr. Fallis in the arm. That's when Mr. Fallis tried to kill me by shoving me off the bridge from behind. I survived, but I was afraid I might be kidnapped again for my family's money. So I decided to change my identity and start a new life. The kidnapping left her emotionally scarred. With her sister's help, she left the Hawthorne family and started all over again. And we're to believe that after all of that, she murdered her sister. Preposterous. Thank you, Mr. Edgeworth. Miss Faye. Yes, Your Honor. As you've heard, the witness is still traumatized from the kidnapping. I'll ask you again to be extremely gentle in your cross-examination. Mr. Edgeworth got the jump on me again. If we're not allowed to fight, then let's twist some arms. Listen up. We've still got that info, that ace up our sleeve. What info? Come on, kitten. Don't say you've forgotten already. The fact that the kidnapping 5 years ago was staged. That's right. It was a fake kidnapping. Terry Fallis told us that in the lobby. I'll do anything she says. Anything Dahlia says. What you're saying is that the kidnapping 5 years ago was planned by... Yeah, me and Dahlia. And Valerie, too. Yes, that's it. The fake kidnapping is your best shot, Mia. That's her secret. Alright, I think I have to be careful when I press her. It feels like one of those. 5 years ago, the ransom price was a very rare diamond. My sister Valerie brought it to the bridge. After she made the exchange, she shot Mr. Fallis in the arm. That's when Mr. Fallis tried to kill me by shoving me off the bridge from behind. Are we using the same logic? I've presented this map so many times. So if she got pushed off, Terry said the bridge was still broken. So if you pushed her from behind, she wouldn't actually land in the water. She'd land on these rocks and then definitely be dead. Okay, so, I want to present this. I'm also running out of time. And I don't... Well, I'm out of time, actually.
Objection!
You say that Mr. Fallis pushed you into the Eagle River. However, that's hard to believe. But it's true. I felt a push on my back. I'm certain of it. It was Mr. Fawless. I'm sorry. I guess I wasn't clear enough. I shouldn't have said, that's hard to believe. I should have said, that's impossible. Impossible? I asked the court recall the condition of Dusky Bridge, now and 5 years ago. That bridge hasn't changed one bit in these last 5 years. If someone had pushed you from behind, as you have claimed, splat, instead of being carried away by the river, you would have been smashed by the bedrock below. A most certain death. Do you understand now, Dahlia Hawthorne? The very notion that my client pushed you from behind is impossible. Your Honor, this event occurred 5 years ago. Why? For all we know, the water level in the river may have been higher back then. But it's 40 feet from the bridge to the river. A small change in the water level wouldn't have made a difference. You're right. If the events occurred just as the witnesses testified, then the defendant couldn't have pushed the witness into the river. Young lady, what is the meaning of this? You see, Just a moment, Your Honor. It's true that the witness testified that the defendant pushed her into the river. However, she never stated that she fell from the back end of the bridge. What do you mean? After being shot in the arm, it's possible that Mr. Fawless panicked. Therefore, he could have unwillingly pushed her off the side of the bridge. If that's true, she would have fallen into the river. Well, Miss Hawthorne, is Mr. Edgeworth's explanation correct? Now that you mention it, I do remember now, when I fell off the bridge, my skirt got caught on one of the bridge's side wires. You cannot be serious. Order in the court. It seems Miss Faye's assault has finally reached its conclusion. Not now, Mia. This is no time to retreat. Unfortunately for you, this is just the start of Miss Faye's assault. What? I believe your reasoning when something like this, Mr. Edgeworth. After being shot in the arm, it's plausible that Mr. Fawless panicked. Therefore, he could have unwittingly pushed her off the side of the bridge. However, once again, I'm forced to say that's impossible. Ridiculous. What's so impossible about it? Because your flawed logic contradicts the court record. Oh, impossible. Impossible. Your Honor, all of the answers are right here in this photo. Take a look at the wires supporting both sides of the bridge. They extend up to about 5 feet off the ground. It would be impossible to push someone off from there. But let's remember the size and strength of the defendant. Wires like this wouldn't be a problem for him. He could have easily picked up a 14-year-old girl and thrown her over. So young and already so forgetful, Mr. Edgeworth. Mr. Fawless had been shot in the right arm. He dribbled her like a baseball and just... And more importantly, Valerie Hawthorne had her gun trained on him at point-blank range. Ugh. So, Mr. Fawless throwing the witness off the bridge, that is clearly impossible. Order. What is the meaning of this? Dahlia Hawthorne, you jumped into the Eagle River intentionally. What? What is this? Indeed, what do you mean by such a ridiculous remark? Yes, it's ridiculous. My sister was there to help me. She had her gun and handcuffs. She could have saved me. Jumping into a raging river like that? That would have been suicide. Perhaps, but still, that's exactly what you did. You were probably confident that you could handle the swift current. But even more so, the witness had a much more compelling reason for jumping into the river. Oh, then what was it? What was so important that she'd want to jump into the river? The witness is still alive. The fact alone explains everything. This is why she risked her life by jumping into the rapids of the Eagle River. Diamond. 5 years ago, something else disappeared along with Dahlia that day. The item that Valerie brought up on the mountain with her. The $2 million diamond. No, it can't be. Yes, Dahlia had it planned from the beginning. The $2 million. She was going to keep it all for herself. She forced Mr. Follis to help her fake the kidnapping. At the last minute, she betrayed him and threw herself into the river, with the ransom tucked away safely in her backpack. Why, that's simply ridiculous. Order, order, order. Your Honor, 5 years ago, the witness was only 14 years old. Do you really think a 14-year-old is capable of such a demonic plan? This woman is a demon. And was more than one person who helped make a demon out of her. Her sister, Valerie Hawthorne. You mean the victim was involved in the kidnapping plot as well? But she was a detective then. You're saying she participated in her sister's kidnapping. Precisely. I'm sure that it weighed heavily on her conscience for the past 5 years. That is the sole reason behind the victim's murder. What do you mean by that? On the day of the murder, after receiving the phone call from Mr. Flawless, Valerie called her sister Dahlia, and then she told her what she was planning to do. Planning to do? She was going to tell the whole truth, as she wrote it in her note. That is what sealed Valerie Hawthorne's fate. That is when you hatched your demonic plan to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. A plan that would ensure neither of your accomplices to the kidnapping would talk. And that is why you killed your sister, Valerie Hawthorne. Who is that laughing at a time like this? Forgive me, it's just hilarious. Witness? Is that you? You amaze me, woman, Miss Mia Fey. You can certainly weave an exciting tale. Naturally, you have the evidence to back it up, don't you? Evidence? Evidence that I planned the kidnapping, of course. That at 14, I plotted with Mr. Follis and my sister. Well, And one more thing. What happened to the $2 million diamond? If you can't provide evidence to at least show that... Well, Miss Fey, I don't know. What a joke. You, Miss Fey? Are you stupid or something? Ugh. How could I prove a fake kidnapping that happened 5 years ago? I don't even have decisive proof of Valerie Hawthorne's murder. Well, it seems we've come to the end. To be honest, the witness's behavior does raise certain suspicions. However, I'm forced to reject the assertions made by the defense. Of course you are. Is this it? Is this really over? That girl has made a fool of me, and there's nothing I can do about it. Ha! Without evidence, the trial is over? Who decided that? Mr. Armando, come on now, kitten. Haven't you figured out that you can make your own rules? For example, even if there's no evidence, there's still testimony. Testimony? On the day in question, Dahlia Hawthorne murdered her sister, Valerie Hawthorne. She hid her body in the trunk of Mr. Follis' stolen car and then went to meet with him. Disguised as her sister, Valerie Hawthorne. That's what you think, right? Yes, that's right. In that case, there's only one answer, right? There's only one person left who can testify about Valerie Hawthorne's murder. Since there's no proof, there's only one thing left to do. Who is that one person that can testify to that demon woman's crimes? Thank you for the sippy. We will finish this case. We'll see how long it goes. I might cancel near one short. We'll see how it goes. Your Honor, the defense wishes to call a new witness. A new witness? Yes, we would like to hear the testimony of Terry Follis. The defendant. There's only one person that can shed any further light on the situation. Only one person that knows what Dahlia's role in the kidnapping was. Only one person who can say whether the person in the photo is Valerie Hawthorne, or whether it is in fact her younger sister Dahlia, disguised as her. There's only one person who can solve this riddle once and for all. And that person is Terry Follis. Well, Mr. Edgeworth, what is your take on this? Why not? The prosecution has no objection. Very well. Bailiff, bring the defendant to the witness stand. This is my last chance, Mr. Follis. My last chance to establish Dahlia's guilt. You're all I have left. Defendant, you've heard everything that's been said up to this point, yes? I don't believe it. No way. Dahlia died 5 years ago. Valerie betrayed me. Mr. Follis, I don't know what she said to you 5 years ago, but one thing is clear. Dahlia is very much alive, and you were used for $2 million. That's not true. Mr. Follis, there's only one question I want to answer to. 2 days ago on Dusky Bridge, who did you meet? Was it Valerie Hawthorne, or was it Dahlia Hawthorne? Dahlia, did you betray me? 5 years ago, she promised never ever betray each other. Please don't do that, Sprightly. Please don't ever call me a sweet little maple leaf. Dahlia, it's true. It's true, you are alive. You don't trust me anymore. That makes me sad. Tell the truth, the real truth. I believed in you. I shouldn't need to say it. You should already know. But there is one thing that I will say. My life is in your hands right now, Terry. Dahlia. I will allow Mr. Follis to testify once and only once. Very well then, Mr. Follis. Yours will be the final testimony in this trial. Witness... I'm sorry. I apologize. Water. Please. Water. Huh? Can't talk. Need water. Oh well. I guess it'll have to be my coffee instead. Oh no. At least it'll match the way he's feeling right now. Darker and bitter than hell itself. Ugh. Oh no. Oh no. I know this is how this is gonna end, and it's super bad. Cause you know Diego's coffee is currently poisoned. Oh. Shit. That day, 4 p.m., I stopped the car. I was in front of Bridge. She wasn't there, so I waited on Bridge. I watched my car from Bridge. I never put no body in that car. Finally, one woman came. She stood in front of me. We talked, then she left. That was Valerie. Not my Dahlia. Mr. Fallis, you're covering for her. Do you think she would do the same for you? That's enough, Miss Fay. His last statement was a fitting way to end the final testimony of the trial. Well then, Miss Fay, please proceed with your cross-examination. This is how you want it to end, Mr. Fallis. Another guilty verdict to go along with your death sentence. There's only one person who can stop it. You can. I think. That day, 4 p.m., I stopped the car. It was in front of the bridge. She wasn't there, so I waited on the bridge. That's not true, because we know that she was there first. We can prove it, because she's on the far side of the bridge.
Objection!
So when you got to the bridge, no one had arrived, huh? So you waited on the bridge. You're sure of that? Yeah, I'm sure. You're sure, huh? Well, then I'm sure too, Mr. Fallis. I'm sure that you're lying. Huh? Wha? Oh? I would love to hear your rationale on this, Miss Fay. You want to know who arrived at the bridge first? Just look at this photo. It's perfectly clear. Obviously, the person that came first would be the one at the end of the bridge, right? But that's the victim at the end of the bridge. Precisely my point. In other words, Mr. Fallis, you must have arrived at the bridge after she did. He's dying. Mr. Fallis? Please don't get so worked up. We just want the truth. I got there around 4 o'clock, it's true. I had somewhere to go. A special place. Did you go to this special place before you went to the bridge? Yeah. It's an old temple, about 15 minutes from the bridge. 5 years ago, me and Dahlia, we promised each other. We swore we wouldn't betray each other. She brought me a memento to represent our love. A memento? 5 years ago, I hid it under base of tree there. It's a special memory for me. This is it. This is what I went to get. A little bottle. On a necklace is your memento. It's quite charming, but it looks empty. Your Honor, you heard what my client said. He arrived at the scene at 4 o'clock. But then he left his car unattended and walked away. He was gone for approximately 30 minutes. With that much time, Dahlia Hawthorne could have easily hidden the body in the trunk of his car. Indeed, there certainly was enough time for it. I've still got a chance. Mr. Fallis, there's no mistaking it. Huh? Mr. Fallis? That's enough. Please. Witness! I promised her 5 years ago. If it ever happens that we can't trust each other no more, then we're supposed to drink bottle. Oh, he put it in the coffee, and he gave the coffee back to Diego, so Diego's been drinking the poison. What a fucking disaster. No, stop the trial! Your Honor, we need a recess! I was stupid. Couldn't keep promise. So I did it. I drank this. No, we are so close! Just a little more! I was going to prove your innocence! No, don't want that. Don't trust self. Maybe kill again. Might kill sweet Dahlia again. Mr. Fallis! Armando, thanks for the coffee. Mr. Fallis! And so my first trial ended. Suddenly. And tragically. It ended with no winners. Only losers. I ended up with a wound that cut so deep into my soul, I thought it'd never heal. I'm sure it was the same for the young prosecutor as well. But one person, the true criminal, Dahlia Hawthorne, she left the courtroom with a secret smile on her demonically sweet face. Unforgivable. That witch. Mr. Armando, thank you for the sippy. We were so close to the truth. It was right there in front of us. You were just a little too soft, kitten. It's my fault? It's all my fault that Mr. Fallis killed himself? Don't cry, kitten. You're gonna make my coffee all salty. I knew it. I knew I wasn't cut out for this. Mia. Don't you get it? You can't cry yet. The only time a lawyer can cry is when it's all over. Mr. Armando. No matter how tough the case, no matter how bitter the memories, they always fade over time. Then you file them away and eventually forget them. One year later, in that very same courthouse, I myself got wrapped up in that case. Only after that did Dahlia Hawthorne get put on trial for her crimes. The verdict that was ultimately handed down to her was guilty, of course. Naturally, when the verdict was read, she had a perfect, angelic smile on her face. It was finally all over. At least that's what I thought at the time. Unfortunately, I couldn't have been more wrong. It's been 5 years, but now something has happened that's made me remember all this. Or I guess we don't talk about how Armando... Diego drank the coffee shortly after that and perished. Oh, boy. Alright, so that will be next week. I guess I think we'll definitely finish this game next week. I hope it only takes 3. I don't know how long it's going to be. But yeah, we'll finish this game next week, and then I don't know. I'll have to think about what we'll play at 2 p.m. Something shorter before I dig into Danganronpa. I've had enough trials. I am fucking tired of trials. Is it long? I want to finish it next week. Well, we'll see how it goes. Goodness gracious. Goodness gracious. Alright, so we're only a half hour over. So Nier will be at its usual time. I don't need to delay it or postpone it. So Nier in a half an hour. I need to go make food really, really fast. So I can't do my usually ending spiel. But thank you so much for being here. Oh, hello, Zach. We are just wrapping up. Nier will be in exactly a half hour. Thank you so much for being here and for putting up with this nonsense, this absolute kangaroo court. I hope you all have a lovely afternoon, and I hope to see you very soon in the next 30 minutes for more Nier Replicant. I will be back tomorrow, though, at 2 p.m. with the new Dead by Daylight DLC, which is Resident Evil. And I will be playing with two lovely guests. So I look forward to that, and I hope to see you there. Congrats on your new phone, Zach. I will see you soon. Have a lovely afternoon, and goodbye.